Hello, and welcome back to Yosuga and Sora, and let's get started with today's read-through.
おはよう、ハル。
When I walked into the kitchen, Sora was already preparing breakfast. Ohayo?
寝坊起きるの遅い。
Wari, I had trouble getting to sleep last night.
もういい加減エアコン買おうよ。
No, it's already September, but we hold out for a little while longer. We won't need one at all this year.
え
Sora looks displeased. Well, Sora had been socially withdrawn most of her life, so she's used to having an aircon on full blast in her room. Regardless, even if we did buy an aircon, having it on all the time would make the electric bill skyrocket. Honestly, we really don't have that kind of economic leisure. Stuff like that makes me realize how bad our situation really is. If you take a cold bath before bed, won't you feel cooler?
そっちの方が風邪ひきそう。
Smiling, Sora left a cafe au lait down gently in front of me. Arigato? The cafe au lait I sipped at was lukewarm. It was easy to drink, but on the way down my throat, it felt somewhat unpleasant. It wasn't like the reason I couldn't sleep was because I was hot. It was actually because of Sora's public affection towards me. In our house that we don't share with anyone else, we didn't have to worry about other people seeing us. However, outside, there are always various people that could judge us. At school, there's even teachers. At my last schools, there were couples who would flirt publicly. But at this school, I hadn't noticed any at all. However, with Sora not being concerned with what other people think, us standing out and being noticed was inevitable. This isn't just limited to Yincho. Lately, it seems like the other classmates also think we're going too far. At this rate, our relationship
また変な顔してる。
mata
うん。最近いつもぼーっと考え込んでることがある。
you're right. Maybe it's Natsubate.
え、本当に？
No, yeah. Oh wait, did they say summer heat? Well, summer's not even. Anyway, oh no, that's just a guess.
うん。
When Sora questions me at times like this, with her eyes staring so intently, it feels like she's trying to expose my deepest feelings. That means I can't even let the tiniest bit leak out.
ハルは悩みすぎ。
Huh?
気にしなくていいじゃない。
Sora stared deep into my eyes again.
私のことだけを考えて。
Like that, she leaned close towards me as her lips approached. She kissed me. The sensation on my lips immediately begins to control my thoughts.
不安なんて感じさせない。私がずっとそばにいるから。
Our lips part. Then Sora's eyes reflect my face again.
ねえ、だから私だけを見て。私は春だけを見てる。もっと好きになってくれたら、もう周りなんてどうでもよくなるから。
Sora. Those words alone, they made me tremble. That Sora cares about nothing but me. More than anyone else. More than anything else. Wholeheartedly and so deeply. Also, Sora can't see anything but me. Along with her degree of attachment, the extent of her devotion could be dangerous. Those two merged into one and approached me. Somewhere, instinctively, I felt that I shouldn't accept it. If I had become like Sora, all that would await us is... However, I had no doubt about how I feel towards Sora. That dilemma gave birth to uneasiness in my heart.
春が何かを思い悩むのなら、 それを取り除いてあげる。
Suddenly Sora seemingly disappeared. Sora squatted down and slipped under the table. Her face then immediately appeared between my legs.
忘れよ。春が悩むことなんて何もないよ。
Well, we're starting good this morning, huh? Anyway, yeah, it's that scene. When Sora grabbed my zipper, I couldn't help but be surprised. Unzipping my pants, her slender fingers slipped inside, her cool fingers touching my cock, and she guided it outside. When she caressed my rod, it became erect, as if light was breathed into it. Sora!
受け止めて。気持ちいいことだけ感じてて。言っちゃった。腰が止まんない。
Ohio, I guess. Sora flopped down onto the floor as she licked at the finger that was just moments before between her own legs.
エッチな味。
Sora looked towards me as I leaned back in the chair.
きれいにしてあげる。
When she licked my twitching cock, flaccid and ticklish after having ejaculated, my hips quivered.
いや、逃げちゃダメ。
That tickles.
感じてるってこと？だったらもう一回できる？
It can't right away. That tickles so much. I feel like I'm going to die.
かわいい。ほら、きれいになってきた。
Almost as if she was eating ice cream. Sora diligently licked my penis from side to side. Once the ticklishness gradually began to fade, my previous flaccid cock began to grow large again. My body was sluggish. However, my sense of pleasure had returned in full force. When I stroked Sora's hair as she came to embrace me, she let out a delighted squeal. If only this happiness could continue forever like this. While absent-minded, I continued to be immersed in the aftertaste of Sora's tight embrace. That one scene. I'm late! After I ran to the classroom, the whole class fixed their eyes on me simultaneously.
さすがのが遅刻か。珍しいな。ほら、席に着け。
はい、すみません。ごめん。
いや、お早いお着きで。
Ryohei greeted me with a friendly a grin as possible. Ohayo, Mina.
どうしたの？病気でもしちゃったのかなって思ったよ。
Yeah, I was just running late.
まったく、今日はソラちゃんもいなかったから寂しかったぜ。
ソラちゃんも一緒に来たの？
Yeah.
なんだ？つまり二人シンクロして寝坊したってことか？つうか、そういうことってあるのか？
You just know. No, it's not synchronized, but sometimes we both sleep in late. The questions flanking me from Ryoi and Matsume were a little frightening. Even though they were just jokes, I thought they would ask me if Sora and I did something too late. After wiping my cold sweat, I could only pretend to be calm. But coming to school like this, sitting at my seat during class, the feelings of Sora's hands and mouth still remained. Looking under my desk, I could see Sora slipping under it. Yeah, the anime version really does that. He was imagining her under his desk. He couldn't even concentrate in class. Her loving expression alone made me blush. While losing track of time, I couldn't think of anything but the pleasure Sora gave me. Even after the fatigue that followed being inside Sora's mouth, I still felt good. I had even lost the will to attend class for a while. That's how much the pleasure seemed to melt my heart. Doing all sorts of things, Sora had made me forget all of my worries. The words she said as she told me that she would do anything for me still reverberated inside my mind. Before I realized it, the remains of that pleasure were replaced by a whole new desire. I want to feel Sora even more. I want to become one with Sora even more.
だからよ、お前もそう思うよな。
Yeah. Both the lessons in my friends' conversations no longer entered my ears.
春、落ち着いて。
ごめん。
ねえ、春、キスして。
On all fours, she crawled towards me. With a clatter, she quickly undid my belt and lowered my zipper down. She then quickly dropped my stained boxers and slipped my half-erect cock in her mouth. With her tongue rolling along the creases, she continued licking it. Above Sora's face, blood started to rush into my cock again.
ほら、まだできるね。
A slurping sound resonated throughout the room as she stuffed her mouth with my glands. While narrowing her lips, Sora looked up at me with a lewd facial expression.
春、来て。
My cock leapt out from her mouth, then stood straight back up as she pulled away. Sora quietly laid down on the futon, then slowly raised the end of Still somewhat in a daze, my consciousness slowly started to return. The lukewarm air, the higurashi crying in the distance, and our faintly audible heavy breathing. When I opened my eyes, I could see the ceiling. Oh, it was the morning, so sunny. My room, which I was used to seeing. The sun had descended high in the sky. It's probably been a while. Even when I opened my eyes, I couldn't remember anything. Without a doubt, I had slept in pretty late. But at the same time, I no longer cared about the passage of time much. I couldn't help it. I couldn't get up. Apart from that, the feelings against my skin, that was my everything. Her damp skin was touching my arm. Sora was clinging onto my arm, almost as if I was a pillow she was hugging. Her breasts were pressed against me, and our legs were entangled, even her soft pubic hair, which was tickling my waist. Yesterday, Sora and I had sex again. We made love with one another until we were so tired we fell asleep. Now, even just watching her face as she slept, I was overcome with happiness. Softly caressing Sora's lower back, she pulled back a little. The sensation of touching Sora's ass, with all its beautiful curves, felt amazing. Every time I stroked her, Sora's body unconsciously twitched. As Sora woke, what expression would she wear? In my mind's eye, she'd have a peculiarly joyous face. Now then. When I eventually woke up, I finally started to notice all the sweat and, well, other various liquids. When I'm done showering, I'll get back in bed with Sora. I slowly pulled away from Sora. As if needing a replacement for me, Sora pulled up the sheets and wrapped herself up inside them. Upon leaving the futon, Sora's warmth disappeared. A peculiar doubt crept in. Had all prior events truly occurred? Maybe that's why without resisting the temptation of pleasure. I always just wanted to have sex with Sora. After a shower, I'll just get back to bed with Sora. Lately, I just think about that kind of thing. Since I was only wearing my boxers, the wind softly brushed against my body felt a bit cold. Even with the light moisture from my shower, my body, especially my head, felt extremely refreshed. As a result, what I didn't care about earlier now started to bother me. We skipped school. Looking at the hands of the clock again, I realized that classes had already ended. We weren't just late this time, we were completely absent today. Once we started, we became completely unable to stop. I'd never been absent before. I'd never even taken out a sick day due to some unavoidable circumstances. I did it with Sora. The entire time, huh? This is the reason I can't tell anyone. Well, we might be able to make up some sort of excuse. Though, if we were in our old house, it would contact our parents. Then we would be immediately exposed. My concerned attitude I had until just now changed and my face paled. What am I thinking? That just because our parents aren't here, we won't be exposed? I'm despicable. The fact that I would think that, even for a moment. I shook my head violently. I did it so hard I became a little unsteady. But it was to shake off those thoughts. I'll go drink some water. After I shook my head in denial, so much that I began feeling dizzy, I suddenly noticed that I was thirsty. It was at that moment when I started to head to the kitchen. Oh. Well, at least they weren't in the middle of the act. You know what they were doing in the anime. Holy shit, man. That was a 10 out of 10 scene. Huh? That voice is Angels. The sound of knocking continued. Then I heard a different familiar voice speak up. Nao-chan? Mazui, if they see me dressed like this. The moment I tried to pull a t-shirt over my head as I left the hallway, the front door opened.
ごめんください。どうしたんですか?
Nao-chan, eyes wide, and Yincho, hands covering her flushed face, walked in as I pulled on my shirt. Go in! In a panic, I pressed my arms through the sleeves, then I quickly pulled it down.
なんて格好してるのよ。
Well, I was sleeping until just a little while ago. I just got out of the shower, so.
そう。タイミング悪かったかしら。春日野くん、調子の方は、大丈夫ですか?
Well, yeah, I'm alright for the most part.
よかったです。何も連絡なくて休みだったから、心配で。
So it was like that. Gomen. To make you worry. Finally understood why they came over.
まったく、倉永さんに心配かけさせるなんて、はるちゃんもひどいね。
Man, I prefer how they did it in the anime. That was straight up no chill.
いえ、私は、プリントとか連絡事項があったから。
You didn't really have to go through all the trouble just to bring them here.
いえ、それぐらいのことは委員長として当然ですから。その割には倉永さんって門の前で右往左往してたよね。それはどう入ればいいかわからなかったから。
How do I enter? You could have just come in like you would any doorway.
私が声かけなかったらなんかいつまでもああしてたような気がするんだけどな。
It could have been worse if she just randomly entered bed. She would have seen everything. Intra's face flushed bright red. It's not like it's the first time she's come over, so I wouldn't think she should be that nervous.
これプリントです。
As if to hide her embarrassment, she dug around inside her bag, then took out two worksheets.
提出は来週ですからそんなに急がなくても。
Oh, okay, got it. When I went to take the worksheets, my hand accidentally brushed against Intra's hand. Go in. Intra yanked her hand back reflexively.
いえ、こちらこそごめんなさい。大げさに反応しちゃって。
She stroked the hand that touched with her other hand. In a way, it was kind of girly, or maybe even a bit innocent.
何青春してるのよ。そういえば、ソラちゃんはいないの？
Oh yeah, she's resting right now. When Nacha suddenly spoke Sora's name, my heart skipped a beat.
そう。二人して病気とかなったら遠慮なく言ってね。どうしようもなくなる前に。
Okay, will do.
本当に何でもないんですか？
Yeah, everything is fine. I'm sure we'll be able to go to school tomorrow.
そうですか。よかったです。
Incha seemed pretty relieved to hear that.
あ、そうだ、はるちゃん。この後もうるさいのがお見舞いに来てくれるよ。
Huh? Really?
うん。両兵たちも来るようなこと言ってたから。
Not good. If it gets even noisier than this, even Sora will wake up and come out here probably. Right next to the hallway, in a room separated by only one door. Sora's sleeping naked. Before Ryohei and the rest intrude on us, I need to finish cleaning up and get Sora dressed. I don't have time to speak casually with everyone. I started to get really impatient.
もし春日野くんが調子悪いなら、私がみんなに説明して帰ってもらいましょうか。
You don't have to go that far. But, if only I had time to change clothes and clean up. I immediately regretted not taking Incho up on her offer. This isn't the time to worry about typical manners for dealing with visitors.
なら手伝うよ。私たちで手分けしたら早いだろうし。
No, I can't really show you guys. It's a bit embarrassing.
あらあら、遠慮しなくてもいいじゃない。ね、倉永さん。
Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit!
私も気にしませんから。
I appreciate the offer, but,
なんか見られるとまずいものでもあるの？そうなんですか？
No, that's not at all true. No,
そっか。まあこれ以上しつこくしても迷惑だろうから、今日はこの辺にしとくね。倉永さんもいいかしら？はい。でも何かあれば遠慮なく言ってくださいね。
okay, thanks.
できればソラさんにも会いたかったですけど、しょうがないですよね。
Yeah, I'll make sure to let Sora know. Good. Now I can somehow manage. I'll wake up Sora really quick and then tell her to get in the bath. During that time, I'll also straighten up the room.
それじゃあまたね。
Now Chen placed her hand on the front door.
すいません。お邪魔しました。
With a faint creak, the door opened up. With the light shining in the middle of the entryway, Incha began to make her way out, but suddenly... While seeing Naochan and Incha, I felt the presence of someone moving behind me. Oh shit! Although I really do like the anime version. The anime version was no chill. There was the faint sound of a door sliding open, which almost couldn't be heard unless you strained your ears to notice. I was the only one that noticed it. My heart rate jumped radically. Naochan and Incha were leaving with painfully slow steps. While still seeing them off, deep inside my heart, I wanted to turn around. I could see a white hand that was opening the door, as well as the presence of a body coming out from behind it. That one moment felt like an eternity. Shit. What broke through that eternity was a small voice seeking me out.
ハル、どこにいるの？
Shit! Oh shit! Man. Though I do prefer the anime version of this scene. The anime version of the scene is truly no chill. Works. It doesn't have the same impact, but it's fine. It's fine. They get caught. It happened in the blink of an eye, as if she was some kind of model. Sora was in the hallway with only the sheet around her. The footsteps of Nao-chan as well as Yincho, who were leaving, stopped dead in their tracks.
ハル、こんなところにいたの？
Ra?
起きたら隣にいないんだもん。びっくりした。
Man. Looking as if she was wandering aimlessly around, she walked over in our direction. With every step, the sound of her walking barefoot and sheets fluttering seemingly reverberated throughout the house. From that crevice, her legs seductively peeked through. Sometimes even her light pubic hairs were exposed. Sora! You... However, without being embarrassed at all about her impression, Sora continued walking towards me. You know, based on that description, I think she overheard them and she just went and did this anyway. That's how I interpret this right now. Like, she doesn't give a fuck. I mean, we already know she doesn't give a fuck. But, like, I really do think she overheard them and she just straight up went there. In her case, just to throw them off. She showed no hesitation, as if she didn't see any of her surroundings and only saw me.
ハル、どうしたの？ねえ、部屋に戻ろう。
The voice seeking me out reverberated throughout the house once again.
ソラちゃん。
Two shocked voices resounded within the house. Nao-chan and Yincho had turned around.
ねえ、ハル。
Sora entirely ignored the reactions around her. Nao-chan and Yincho stared at Sora in complete disbelief. It was as if I was the only one who was frozen in time. Within Nao-chan and Yincho's sight was Sora, coming out of my room completely naked. I can't think straight. Sora moved slowly, while Nao-chan and Yincho didn't even so much as even attempt to move. During all that time, I had stiffened up, like I was only capable of being confused.
ソラちゃん。その格好。
For Nao-chan's one phrase, the frozen time immediately shattered back into motion. Nao-chan and Yincho trembled. On the other hand, Sora's movements had stopped. She then slowly turned her gaze towards the two. Once again, anxiety ran throughout me, so much so that it was as if time had stopped for me once again.
帰って。
Oh man, she really doesn't care, man. She doesn't care.
私とハルの邪魔をしないで。
Holy shit, Sora, man. You know what? Maybe it's not so bad because she gets to actually say, "You guys, go away, man." I know, like, the comparable scene is more shocking, but like her actually saying it straight up to them. Expressionlessly, Sora declared that towards Nao-chan and Yincho.
何？
Yincho's bag fell from her trembling hands, and she tightly gripped her chest.
あなたたち。まさか。
Nao-chan's shaky voice timidly exposed the truth.
だったら
Jesus, Sora.
いいでしょ。 私がナオちゃんと同じことしても。
Sora spit out those words, entirely unconcerned, as if it was something completely natural.
ハルは私のことを受け入れてくれたの。
Sora just...
だから邪魔をしないで。何なのソラさん、一体何を。春日の
Incha! Horror dawned within Incha's eyes, as she had finally vaguely comprehended what had just occurred. I could only stare at those eyes, completely speechless.
ハル、どうしたの？ねえ、続きしよう。
Incha! Incha turned on her heels and rushed out, leaving behind only a high-pitched scream and the violent slam at the door. Sora expressionlessly looked over towards the door, as if a hindrance had finally disappeared. My voice that was unable to escape attempted to leave inside of my throat. No, was I even trying to respond? Right now, what had happened here? I wonder if that was even reality. Now Chan and Incho came over. Sora exposed everything, and then eventually Incho ran away. It was like peeking at something that was occurring deep within a miniature garden. It was kind of a sense of... It was that kind of sense of unreality. What we did. What I did yesterday with Sora. How much we loved each other. The feeling of our hearts being intertwined, as well as the tranquility we obtained together. Drowning in the pleasure of body and mind. At the same time, nothing else mattered. As long as Sora was right by my side. As long as Sora was here. Because I love Sora. Because of that.
Haru-chan!
With a shock, as if I'd been shaken, I suddenly returned to my senses.
Haru-chan, しっかりして。
Now-chan strongly grabbed at my collar.
いい、聞いて。まずとにかくソラちゃんを着替えさせて。
Okay.
私はみんなを返すから。しっかりして。また後で来るから。
Once the sound of the door being shut violently rang through my ears, I came back to my senses once again. Only a few minutes had passed. I had a brief flashback of what had happened just now. Finally now, I had some sort of understanding of our remaining circumstances. My endless regret, as well as my deep despair, suddenly attacked me full force. Being unable to support my own body, I leaned against the wall of the entryway. What we did was this sort of thing. No matter how much we love one another, this is something no one will ever accept. It was a detestable act, without a lick of common sense. Siblings doing that, even though we're Kazoku.
ハル、どうしたの？
Sora's voice came out from behind me.
やっと邪魔がいなくなったよ。ねえ、こっちに来て。どこにも行かないで。ずっとそばにいてね。
Sora's eyes showed that the emotions had returned. Despite being slightly clouded, they lovingly stared at me. Even though it was such an intense exchange had just occurred, Sora wasn't even slightly perturbed. No, it wasn't that she wasn't perturbed. Sora simply wasn't able to feel perturbed. And that's all it was. That's why, no matter who's around and no matter what's said, she's calm.
ハル、ねえ。
Just like a spoiled little kid, Sora tugged at my hand. Yet, the one that took that hand was me. With my own feelings like this, I always thought I could love and protect her. But what that implied in our world, and how far it could survive, I had never considered any of that. It was making me break down. Incho's terrified face, as if she had seen something traumatizing, wouldn't leave my line at all. What should I do?
Haru?
Uh,
Haru?
I ran straight in my room and shut the door behind me.
ハル、どうしたの？ねえ、ハル、ハル？
I did something so crazy.
開けてよ。ハルってば。ハル、ねえ、ハル。
I had become terrified. No matter how long I leaned against my wall, no strength would return to my knees. Just like that, I slid down along the wall and ended up crouched down on the floor.
ハル、ハル、ハル。
Sora was desperately calling out to me. The nearby screaming voice pierced my ears as well as my heart. What should I do? How should I even respond to her voice? The whole time Sora called out my name as she repeatedly beat on the door. The one who made Sora end up like that was me. I was supposed to be the one to protect her, but even though I was supposed to be protecting her, I wrecked my relationship with Sora. No, not just our relationship. I also broke Sora herself. Not wanting to hand her over to anyone else. I ended up entirely forgetting we were family members and completely cast aside my role as an older brother. By accepting Sora, Next, I'll cast her aside? Sora and everyone. The society we live in. We're trying to have it both ways. Sora beat on the door much more weakly than before, as if she had been worn out. Even the sound's impact started to feel like something far away in the distance. I felt the hollow emptiness of depression and despair. What I'm feeling now is surely exactly that. I had done something that could never be undone. Fear, disgust, guilt, and then loss. With the happiness I felt up until now snatched away, my heart felt frozen. The regret and helplessness had mixed together, and I was instead overrun with deep despair. No amount of atonement can undo this. The despondency that comes from the realization of what we had done set in. Without being able to cry and scream like Sora, without being able to cheer up and support someone saying get it together like Nao-chan. I can't anymore. I stopped being able to even picture the future. Before I realized that the sound of Sora beating down on the door had vanished. The sound fell silent, as if no one was here at all. Even Nao-chan, who said she'd come by later, never came. Since no one came over after that, it must have meant that Nao-chan was able to successfully send them all away. I felt like my head was in chaos. No matter what I tried to think about, I couldn't focus on anything at all. Sora and I. What should we do from now on? After that happened, did Yincho go and spread rumors about us? Has it already become a rumor amongst the entire town? One after another, thoughts spilled forth into my mind, but they only threw me deeper into my own confusion. Regardless, there was only one thing that never changed. The underlying dread I felt. What Sora and I did. Everyone would never accept it. Eventually, it will be exposed. Then would probably be avoided by everyone. Once that happens, there aren't many options for us left. We should just leave town. Deep within my heart, a small voice whispered that to me. That's true. If we go to a place where no one knows us, then I have a feeling we can simply just continue our relationship. However, what if the same thing happened again over there? More than likely, there'll be no choice but to take Sora and wander around aimlessly yet again. However, after that, I wonder where we would go. An unknown town in some faraway place? even though there wouldn't be someone else's route to live under like here. Not to mention we had no means of earning money to buy food. Moreover, if our relatives were to know about this, Sora and I would probably be forced apart. That we would never again be able to see each other again. Will we fall to such a conclusion? I jumped up from a sudden, unexpected sound, then noticed it was just the sound of my kentai. Shit! Who is it? At this time? The reverberating sound was at this point just entirely unpleasant. For the sake of quickly erasing my depression, I opened up my kentai. But the name projected on the display was... Oh, Chan. In a panic, I quickly pressed the talk button. Moshi moshi.
はるちゃん
Ah,
ごめんねまだ落ち着いてないかもしれないのに
no, it's... okay. Earlier, hearing the ringtone was so unpleasant. However, after I heard Nao-chan speak, I began to calm down oddly enough. The pleasant haziness whirling around in my head up until now had finally started to clear up. So, what happened?
手短に話すね
Okay.
とりあえずみんなは返したから安心してただその倉永さん探してみたんだけど捕まらなかったの
I see. If Angel had met up with someone, I wonder if she told them about us. The likelihood of our current lifestyle being destroyed, that probably didn't change at all.
はるちゃん
Nao-chan's voice became level-headed and sounded quite stern.
その心を落ち着けてね
あ
やったことの後悔よりこれからできることを考えてきっとまだ間に合うから
Nao-chan?
私がはるちゃんに言ってあげられるのはこれくらいしかないけれど慌てないで不安にならないで振り返るより今を先を見てそうすればきっとなんとかなるから頑張ってはるちゃん
Nao-chan. Mysteriously, Nao-chan's voice seemed to permeate my heart.
それじゃあ私もう少し倉永さんを探しに行ってみる
Okay. Arigato.
気にしないでそれじゃあ
I softly closed my kentai. The call with Nao-chan was only a few minutes long. Regardless, that surely calmed my heart, which was endlessly stuck in the loop. Arigato, Nao-chan. However, that calmness only lasted a brief moment. Nao-chan's words looped inside my head. A different meaning from those words quickly invited anxiety back into my heart.
やったことの後悔よりこれからできることを考えて
Is it okay to think something so convenient? Demo,
まだ間に合うから
can I really still make it in time? No matter how much I tried to think, I couldn't arrive at an answer. But if nothing was done about it, then everything would be futile. Nothing would change, and the situation would only deteriorate. I knew I had to prevent that at all costs. For our sake, I had to arrive at a distinction between right and wrong about what I have committed. When I opened the door, Sora wasn't there. Sora. I had left Sora all by herself, without even any response to Sora's crying and shouting. I had confined myself to my room all by myself. Really, I should have had a talk with her while that was happening. But I was scared. I remember the fear Sora radiated. Back then, even when Nicho and Nao-chan saw her completely naked, Sora was completely undeterred. Without declaring that nothing had happened, she completely ignored the others and only looked at me with those profound eyes. Wait, I'll be right back. Emek. Not being able to turn her eyes towards anyone but me, showing only her love. As long as I'm here, as long as I'm there, she doesn't need anything else. Anything else. She can't see it. She can't hear it either. The kind of overwhelming wholeheartedness. It had the danger of rejecting everything else solely to seek me out. If Incho and the rest hadn't visited, what would I have done differently? Drowning in pleasure together with Sora? I might have stopped caring about my surroundings as well. If I'm told that that's just one of the forms of love, well, I can't deny that. But surely, some form of distorted love. That's why I shouldn't have let things get this far. Sora! I felt like my reserved knock had resounded much louder than I expected. I wonder if she's asleep. Sora! So, you were sleeping after all, huh? Sora slowly appeared out from behind the door. Seeing how her eyes looked, it seemed like she had been crying, given how red they were. In addition to that sight, Sora seemed so frail that an atmosphere as thought she was hardly here at all was brought about.
Haru.
Sora's expression changed upon seeing my face and caused her to smile just a little bit. Her smile was, to say the least, bittersweet. I need to say painful things to Sora. Sora, there's something we need to talk about. From hearing the serious tone of my voice, Sora's expression quickly shifted. I couldn't help but become hesitant to speak. It was the kind of sad facial expression. Sora, what we need to talk about is...
私がいけなかったの。
I wondered if she couldn't hear anything but the first word. Before I could say the next word, Sora asked a question. Her voice sounded like it was squeezed out, and it trembled from beginning to end.
私が悪いことしちゃったの。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ハル、私。
She clung to my arm while desperately apologizing over and over. That's not what this is about. Here. Sit down. Suate. Gently taking her hand that was clinging onto me, I tried to get Sora to sit down.
やっぱり私のせい。私が。
Even while slowly sitting, Sora had tears in her eyes, and her mouth was severely distorted. From that hand, I could tell her body was trembling severely. I'm the one who has driven Sora this far. I thought while loving Sora, I was also trying to protect her. Those feelings weren't fake, but... Sora? Kite? Were those emotions to lead to something like this? You didn't do anything wrong. The one who was wrong was me. It was all my fault.
ハル、
I should have been more level-headed. As a Nissan, I should have watched over you properly. Yet
どういうこと？ハルはちゃんとやってくれてたじゃない。
No. I did something awful to you.
え？
Even though we're kyodai.
そんなの私は
Sora showed me a somewhat impatient smile.
私は気にしてない。ハルがいてくれれば。
That's not right. You should mind. Because you and I... Kyodai. I shouldn't have encouraged you. I shouldn't have desired you at all. No matter how much we love each other, no matter how much we communicate our feelings, that was the one thing I should never have done. That's why we should end this. We're kyodai. We shouldn't do things like that anymore. That's why, let's not. Anymore. Let's return to how we used to be.
どうしてねえ、春は私に気持ちを聞かせてくれたのに、何度も言ってくれた。好きだって。そして私を受け入れてくれた。あんなにいっぱい。春だってそう思ったから抱きしめてくれたんでしょ。兄弟だからダメだなんて全然わかんないよ。
Sora's strength abruptly left her as she gripped my collar. Suddenly weak, she collapsed against my chest. I wasn't thinking. Gently, I wrapped both of my arms around Sora's head. Because I love you. Because our feelings were mutual. I was in ecstasy. I was convinced that as long as we loved each other, anything could be forgiven. But as far as what we would result in, what kind of responsibilities were involved, I failed to think about any of that. I finally realized when I saw Insho and Nao-chan, I had to protect you from now on. That's why being this kind of relationship, it's wrong. Not just at me. I don't want people to look coldly at you either. That's why we can't anymore.
いや、
Please. Please understand. If this spreads as a rumor throughout the whole town, I don't know what will happen. When that happens, I might not be able to protect you. That's why.
気にしない。春さえ言ってくれたら。春以外の言葉や視線なんて意味がない。春がずっと好きでいてくれたらそれだけでいい。だから春もずっと私だけを見て。そうすればもう煩わされたりしない。それが嫌だったらどこか別の場所に行こう。知り合いも誰もいない遠いところに。
Sora thought the same exact thing I did. Flee somewhere, just so we could continue our relationship. If we did that, I wonder how well it would work out. However, what lies beyond that is, without doubt, ruin. There's no way we can avoid being found out again and again. It's a fate we'll never escape from. Sora can't see that. She doesn't even try to see that. My feelings towards Sora welled up inside me for a moment, then quickly subsided. I must convey it to her. In order to protect our future, I need Sora to understand the gravity of the situation. We can't.
どうして？
Are we going to keep running away forever? Once we're exposed, we have to move and change where we live over and over. Is that something you want to repeat until we die? You want to just keep repeating that?
春は違うの。
I don't.
どうして？
Understand! Please! Understand, Sora! What will our parents think? Even if you're okay with moving, I don't want to lead you down that road and cause you any stress. I'm begging you, so please, understand. Before Sora could respond, I left the room and closed the door behind me. Sora didn't chase after me. When I closed the door, I couldn't see Sora's face. That's why, whatever expression she had when I left, I didn't know what it was. It's fine. It's like this. In the empty hallway, I had been muttering to myself. For Sora's sake as well, it's... right now. She might not understand. But since it's Sora, I'm sure she'll understand eventually. If only she'd think about what we can't and shouldn't do if we were going to always live together. I want to believe that she'd understand eventually. The bright rays of the morning sun light were blinding. It didn't feel particularly refreshing to me at that moment, though. It felt as though I was a vampire exposed to the sun's rays. At least that's what it seemed like to me. The sunlight, usually refreshing, felt scorching. It felt like I couldn't face anything, not even the sun. Ever since I spoke to Sora yesterday, she never left her room. I went to go call her when I got up. However, I decided against it. It was because I didn't know she calmed down after sleeping overnight. Honestly, maybe I just didn't want to call her. Even though I said all those things yesterday, I wanted Sora to manage to get back on her feet on her own. Right now, if we don't change, we'll be finished. But deep inside my heart, unpleasant thoughts whirled around. Really, even more than those feelings, I was afraid Sora would try and get back together with me a second time. Maybe I was just scared. I, who couldn't clearly answer, "That's wrong," to my questioning heart, was detestable without end.
Oro? Oi! Haruka!
A familiar voice reached my ears.
Ohayo, Haruka! Ohayo gozaimasu.
It felt like I haven't heard from them in days or even weeks. But even those unchanging voices now resounded painfully in my ears due to the recent events. Ah, ohayo mina.
なんだ昨日はサボりやがって。
Yeah, I got really sick.
おいおい、マジで元気ないな。今さら夏バテか？
大丈夫？お薬あるよ。
No thanks. I'm fine, Namatsume.
はるくんちお医者さんだったよね。だったらお薬いっぱいあるか。先生亡くなられて久しいんだから薬も古くなってるわよ。それに会ったところで素人が扱えるわけないでしょ。ああ、そっか。
ま、何日も寝込むほどでなくて何よりだ。よし、行こうぜ。にしてもよ、昨日は大変だったんだぜ、これが。
Ryo's one casual word caused my heart to sink. Huh? What was? Did something happen? Given what Naochen said from the phone conversation yesterday, they should have just headed home. It couldn't be that they found out about us, but if they did, from where? A chill ran down my spine.
お前、委員長に何かしたのか？
Huh? I thought my heart was going to explode. If that were to get around, well, it couldn't have been Naochan, so it must have been... As soon as I thought those words, I had a sudden flashback to
い
yesterday.
や、実は昨日、お前ん家に様子見に行こうとしたんだけど、その途中で委員長にぶつかられて、
あれ涼しそうだったね。
おや、とんだ行水だったけどな。
Oh, so that happened. I managed to stop imagining the worst case scenario after he said that. But Incho, even hearing her nickname right now, scares me.
それにしても、あんな剣幕っつうが、顔を真っ赤にして脇目も振らずに突っ走る委員長なんて初めて見たぞ。プリント届けに行くだけで、なんであんなことになるかね。大方、お前がパンツ一丁で出たんだろ。
that wouldn't cause her to be like that, you know. She was totally fine with it. Well, it was something like that.
だろうな。あの当てっぷりはそうじゃないかと思ったんだ。
そうだったんだ。
I had just gotten out of bed, so I guess I was a little out of it.
もし私たちが言ってたら、ハルくんのパンツ見てたかもしれないんだ。アキラ、変なこと言わないで。
Well, even though it was just Amatsume's usual innocent jokes, my heart felt like it had stopped. What would have happened if people that saw it were Amatsume, Kazuha-san, and Ryohei?
パンツ一丁ぐらいで照れんなって。男はもっと肉体に自信を持てっての。
Even though the thought of it was terrifying, inside my chest, my heart was throbbing so intensely it hurt.
ハルくん、お腹痛いの？カスバノくん？
ごめん。I just spaced out a little.
本当に大丈夫ですか？まだ調子が出ないとか。
No, I'm fine.
調子悪いんだったら遠慮なく言えよ。俺はお前の相棒なんだから。
Yeah, thanks. At the very least, we probably wouldn't be able to have this conversation right now if word had gotten out. The friends that reside in the deepest place within my heart. I almost lost the ability to hang out with them. Thinking that, it felt like my stomach dropped and my heart was crushed.
相棒か。かっこいいな。
おう、相棒、バディ。いい響きだよな。
Buddy.
カズちゃんは私のバディ。そんな子供みたいな変な言い回しに付き合わせないで。
照れんなって。な、バディ。
いい加減にしてください。アキラがまた余計なこと覚えたじゃないですか。
話がわかるやつは必要だぜ、カズちゃん。
だからその呼び方やめてもらえませんか？
The typical unchanging morning scenery. Even though that's all it is, tears suddenly fell from my eyes. I almost destroyed these relationships. If I had abandoned all my relationships besides Sora, these enjoyable voices would go far away. They'd vanish forever.
あれ、ハルくん、なんで泣いてるの？
No, I just yawned.
ああ、そうなんだ。てっきりお腹痛そうだったから、それでかななんて。
No, I wouldn't ever cry for something like that. It's because you say such weird things. They're so funny. I can't help but tear up a bit.
ああ、腹が痛くて泣いていいのはトイレが開かないか近くにない時だけだな。
最低ですね。ほら、アキラ、行きましょう。うわー、カズちゃん、引っ張らないで。
Kazuha-san and Namatsume quickly went ahead of us.
おい、俺がなんか変なこと言ったかよ。
They seemed in a hurry as they waved goodbye to everyone behind them. Deep within my heart, the thought of not wanting to lose everyone around me arose once again. But what should I? In reality, I was already treading upon that mistake. I was already on the verge of losing them. Wishing for that kind of thing this late in the game was laughable.
ハルちゃん。
Oh shit, here we go. When I left the staff room where I reported my absence from the day before, a voice called out from behind me. Nao-chan. Nao-chan had a frown plastered on her face, which was rather unusual. It's not like she was mad, but it was quite a serious expression. Nao-chan, about yesterday, For a moment, Nao-chan cast her eyes downward, but she immediately then looked me straight in the eyes.
今日はソラちゃんは？
Right now, she's locked herself up in her room.
そう。ハルちゃんは大丈夫？
Yeah, I'm going to have a long talk with her later.
わかった。 ちゃんと相談してね。
Yeah, thanks.
それじゃあね。
Briefly showing me one final smile, Nao-chan turned and headed back to her classroom. Both yesterday and today, she's been so calm. Normally it would have been way too much of a shock, but Nao-chan has calmly helped me deal with this situation. And now instead of avoiding me, she's only been showing concern for me. Though she probably knew about Sora and I. I'm sure it was because of what happened between us so long ago. However, the experience from that time was somehow connected to her being able to calmly cope with this. Well, how ironic would that be? And now, I'm repeating the same mistakes. Regardless, if I'm able to consult with Nao-chan even a little bit, I might be able to see what lies ahead. Things that I wouldn't be able to see otherwise. Just as I thought that, my feelings that had lightened briefly suddenly became overbearingly heavy again. It's because I could see the classroom. Inside, unless she was absent. Well, Incho was almost certainly there. I had a brief flashback of the expression that Incho had given us. That look mirrored witnessing insanity. It suggested fear or hatred, possibly towards the criminal or pervert. When I arrived back at the classroom, I wondered if I had to face that expression again. Regardless, it's not like I can just skip class. I took a moment to steel myself, then stepped in. My eyes met with Nincho's, who was at her seat. It was as if she could see through the door and predicted me entering, but Nincho quickly averted her gaze, and instead looked straight ahead, refusing to turn back towards me. She was tense. It was glaringly obvious. She grasped her hand tightly as if she was enduring the situation. However, without seeing her expression, all I could discern was that her braids had slightly trembled. Given her appearance from behind, it was evident that she was rebuffing every part of me. The gravity of what I did was, yet again, thrust in my face by force. The bell rang, informing us all that class was over for today. The classroom buzzed with the commotion of freedom. The clamor reached my ears, and I was quickly enveloped by the realization that class was finally over. Honestly, throughout the whole day, I was heedless of everything around me. Everyone was acting concerned, as if I was recovering from an illness or something. That was the sentiment I had felt.
さてと、帰りにどっか寄ってくか。
No, I'm going to head straight home today. Sora, she's still there after all.
ああ、そういやそうだったな。ソラちゃん、調子悪そうなのか。
It's nothing to be quite that concerned about.
じゃあ、ケーキ漬けに昨日持っていけなかったお土産でも持ってお見舞いでも行くか。
I appreciate the offer, but today a little silence would be a bit better.
そうなのか。おい、大丈夫かよ。
Yeah, that's just how it is always for her.
いや、そうじゃねえ。
Huh?
お前のことだよ。
About me? After Ryo's unexpected words, I found myself staring at his face without even realizing it.
昨日休んだからかどうか知らんけどよ。なんか今日のお前、妙に疲れてるように見えるんだよな。体じゃなくてよ。気持ちの方がな。
Ryo,
ソラちゃんの世話の方に気を使いすぎて自分のことを忘れてないか。何でも受け止めて自分ばっかり背負い込んでたら今度はお前が壊れちまうぜ。
Shit, man, that's so hard, man. Like, that's exactly what's happening, but at the same time, it's not something you can discuss, man. Oh, shit, man. Oh, fuck.
お前が壊れちまったらソラちゃんどうすんだ。
Yeah. I'll be more careful.
だからソラちゃんは俺に任せろって言ってんだよ。
Oh, so that was your ulterior motive.
いやいやいや、この俺様の溢れる愛を分かってほしいもんだ。
Hidden deep under his usual playful and idiotic words were his true feelings. Ryo is actually looking out for me. His concern is surprisingly substantial. But does the person I am currently even deserve to accept his goodwill? If I confess my wrongdoing, if I told him about Sora and me, will Ryohei still be concerned like this? The current me is truly despicable. Even though he's so concerned about me, I can't tell him the truth. No, I simply don't have the courage to tell him. What should I do?
はるちゃん。
Nao-chan. Once I left the school building, I noticed Nao-chan was standing by the school gate.
一緒に帰ろう。
Okay. I'm sure she was more than likely waiting on me. I didn't really have any reason to refuse her either. Walking side by side, we were silent for a bit. During that time, rather than being impatient with me, she allowed me some time to settle down, as if to figure out where I stand. Nao-chan eventually spoke.
ソラちゃんは大丈夫かしら。
Yeah. Although I think she's probably still cooped up in her room.
そっか。
When we then walk in silence once again.
ね、はるちゃん。
Nao-chan's pace began to slow down somewhat. Nani? I adjusted my own pace to match hers.
私ね、勘違いしてた。
Kai. Nani?
ソラちゃんの気持ちを。
Sora. Imochi?
うん。ソラちゃんがあんなにまではるちゃんにこだわっていたのは、残された最後の家族だから。自分が一人ぼっちになってしまうのが怖かったからって。
Abruptly, Nao-chan came to a halt. I passed her briefly before also coming to a stop.
でも、全然違ったんだね。ソラちゃんは、本当にはるちゃんのことを。
We remain motionless. The lingering chirps of cicadas and the gentle rustling of the wind brushed past our ears without stopping. The stillness was eventually gently broken by Nao-chan's footsteps.
ねえ、はるちゃん。
Prompted by Nao-chan's resuming her steps, I started to walk again as well.
ソラちゃんのこと、好き。
The situation wasn't as straightforward as her words might have suggested. Yet at the same time, it was exactly that straightforward. I pondered if that's the reason why she asked. Apart from the present circumstance, the question at hand was about my feelings for Sora. It was a question. The question my everything. That's why I abided by the feelings that were inside my heart. Ah. Directly meeting Nao-chan's eyes, I nodded. In return, Nao-chan stared straight back into my own eyes. It was an intense and unwavering gaze, as if peering directly into my heart.
それは、きついよ。
Ah.
もしかしたら、誰も、認めてくれないかもよ。
I'm prepared. I simply answered without averting my gaze.
そう。
Nao-chan closed her eyes.
わかった。
Huh? Then she gave a tender smile. That smile was almost too tender.
ああいう関係がいいかどうかは、もう問わない。本当はいけないことかもしれないけど、それよりも、そこにある気持ちの方が大事な時もあると思うの。
The hidden meaning behind those words, I think I sort of understood. Surely it was about what happened when we were young. That time, maybe Nao-chan had been serious too.
そしてそれを手放しちゃダメなこともあると思う。
The melancholy and bitterness of dropping your own feelings. She would have understood that sort of experience intimately.
だから私も協力するよ。
あ、
はるちゃんの気持ちが本当だって分かったから、私はそれを信じる。
Nao-chan. 本当の気持ち。The things I had begun to lose sight of. Finally, my true feelings, which had been swept up and away by various events. Now, they had finally become one with my heart. With just one word, we departed from the world without
で
hesitation.
もね、はるちゃん、その代わり約束して。
あ？
ソラちゃんを連れてどっか行ったり、勝手にいなくなったりしないでね。
Pierre? That was what Sora and I both had imagined our future to be.
どんな形であっても誤った真似だけはしちゃダメよ。
Okay. Act so hastily. That expression, it curiously echoed deeply within my heart. There's no way we would do that kind of thing, as long as Nao-chan's around. Someone who acknowledged us. Afterwards, without talking about anything in particular, we eventually arrived home.
とりあえずソラちゃんと二人で話すのよ。
I will.
ちゃんと話ができたら私を呼んで。
Okay. See you later.
頑張って。
After I placed my hand on the front door, I noticed something strange. Wait, I have to pause. It's an awkward moment that I'm refilling my humidifier. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Damn it. Let me remove. Oh, finally. Okay. Can't remember if I read this, so let me read it again. After I placed my hand on the front door, I noticed something strange.
どうしたの？
Well, the front door is open. Or rather, it seems it was left open. When I left this morning, I made sure to close it. I even locked it too. Did Sora head out somewhere? However, upon entering, Sora's shoes had remained in their usual spot.
出かけてるわけじゃないのかな。
Yeah, I wonder what's going on. Sora, I'm back. Even after I called out, there was no response. Without any lights on in the house, there were no signs of anyone was home.
ソラちゃん寝てるのかしら。
Maybe. I'll go check. This morning, I didn't see Sora either. It's possible that Sora has been locked up in her room ever since. Sora, tadaima. Sora? There was no response. Sora? The door as soon was locked, unexpectedly opened with ease. Sora, are you here?
ダメ。家の周りにもいないよ。
Where could she have gone? Sora's not in her room. There are no signs of her in or near the house either. I'll try calling her real quick. As I punched her Newabango, a sense of unease and foreboding clouded my thoughts. If Sora weren't to pick it up, Nao-chan's words from earlier echoed in my mind.
どんな形であっても早まった真似だけはしちゃダメよ。
When she mentioned that, I couldn't imagine myself actually doing it. But would Sora? Huh? Out of nowhere, the ringer was cut off.
どうしたの？繋がらない？
Yeah. On top of that, there was some kind of weird pause. I decided to try and redial Sora's number once more.
おかけになった番号は現在電波の入っていない場所にあるか電源が切られております。
Okay, she shut off her phone. What does that mean? It was connected just a few moments ago. Could she have turned off her cell phone?
着信を無視してる。
Yeah, tabun. No matter how many times I tried calling her, I repeatedly got the same automated response.
どうしたんだろう。どこに行っちゃったのかしら。
I don't know. I'm going to go outside and take a look around. That uneasy feeling, it began to grow even stronger. Maybe Sora ran away from home. No, I don't think this is just her running away. I'd be better if it was that simple though.
私も手伝うよ。
After putting my shoes back on, Nao-chan also started to put on her shoes. でも
もう暗くなってきたし、一人より二人の方が見つけられる可能性は高いわ。それに多分今私が考えていること、はるちゃんと同じだと思
Nao-chan's extremely serious look showed that she wasn't lying.
う。見つけたらはるちゃんの携帯に連絡するから。
Okay, please do.
じゃあある程度探したら一度どこかで落ち合いましょう。
Wakata. Nao-chan and I left the gate and ran off in different directions.
踏みしめる砂の感触が歩くたびに痛みへと変わる。足の裏を刺す痛みも地面の熱さも立ち上る熱気もだんだんと何も感じなくなってきた。ただただ足を前に出して進んでいく。ここはどこだろう。今いる場所もどこに行こうとしているのかもわからない。何のために私は今こうしているのか、それすらもどうでもよくなってきた。薄暗くなってきた風景。頭を空っぽにしたい、そう思って外に出た。でもどこにいても春の顔が浮かんでしまう。春は出て行ってしまった。私を置いて。もう続けられないと言い残して。どうしてあの日春が自分の気持ちを明かしてくれた時、本当に嬉しかった。優しく抱かれて激しく愛されて心も満たされた。気持ちが通じ合ったことが幸せで、そばにいるだけで安らぎを感じた。それだけでよかった。それさえあればこの先もずっと。でも春は続けられないと言った。終わりにしようと。終わりにするこの関係を。小さい頃から抱き続けてきた思いがあった。叶ったのはほんのわずかな時。まだ思い返せる。春がいっぱい触ってくれた感触を。このうずきとほてりがある限り嘘じゃない。それだけでよかったのかな。 諦めていた思いを伝えられたんだから。いつからだろう。春に焦がれていたのは、病院の窓から見上げる空しか知らなかった私に、いつも外の世界を教えてくれた。本当の空は広大でどこまでもつながっている。そしてたとえ離れていても、僕らはいつも同じ空の下にいるんだって微笑みながら私を見る春に、いつしか心を奪われていた。この空の下で私たちはつながっている。空。私はこの名前が好きになった。私の名前と春の名前、遥かな空。いつも春とつながってられると。だけど私は分かってしまった。私の窓は春としかつながっていなかった。でも春は自分の名前の通り、もっと広い世界とつながっていたんだ。同じ空を見上げているつもりでも、春は私もいる世界を見ていた。私には春だけしか見えていなかった。だから春の言葉は届かなかった。私たちがどんな立場に置かれているか、春が私に代わってどんな苦労をしていたか、春がどんなに苦しんでいたか。あんなに春を見ていたのに、私は春の優しいところだけにすがって見ようともしなかった。そんな私に春を救えるわけもない。ただ二人で一緒にいるだけ、安らいだ時間だけを感じ合うだけ、好きなだけで、春の何も分かっていなかった。そんな私なんて春にとっては重荷にしかならない。私との関係を取り繕うためにまた苦労をさせるぐらいだったら、はる。
おい、はるか。
The one who came over towards me from within the darkness was Ryohei.
よ、どうだそっちは。
Huh? Oh, nothing yet.
そうか、やはり暗くなると見つけづらいな。
Yeah, I don't know where she could have gone either. Huh? Wait, how did he know?
ああ、事情はナオのやつから聞いた。
How-chan did that?
あいつは穂積の方に行くって言ってたからよ。他にもアキラとか動けそうなやつに当たってもらってる。
They're going out of their way for us.
とりあえず学校の方は見てきた。中にも入ってみたけどいなかったな。
I see. Sorry about all this.
気にすんな、俺が一番に見つけてやんよ。
Arigata.
見つけたらそうだな、ソラちゃん手作りで何か振る舞ってくれ。
Okay, sure you will. She will.
うほー、これで気合が入るってもんだぜ。何かあったらお前の携帯にかけるよ。
Okay, I'll let you know if anything happens.
お、じゃあな。
Ryohei. I watched as Ryohei started running. Despite not knowing the full story, Ryohei's feet was caked in mud. He probably waded through an entire field. Sora went missing. Just from hearing that alone, he was a friend who would go to such great lengths. The fact I realized I had a friend like that, it truly warmed my heart to its core. However, on the other hand, my feelings weighed heavily on me. It wasn't necessarily a bad feeling. There's no way I betray these friends. The reason things became like this, I had to tell them the truth about Sora and I can't just run away anymore. I began running in the opposite direction from where Ryohei had gone. Damn it! It's this dark out now! And once I glanced at the sky, the evening's lingering light was still present. However, from the mountain's location, darkness was swiftly zeroing in. Only a handful of streetlights, along with the light from a few houses, shone on the street. But my footsteps felt uncertain. Sora! I repeatedly called out her name while walking along the road, but there was no response. Where did she go? When I set out to search for her, Sora's shoes were still there. Sumari, she went out barefoot. On top of all that, given Sora's lifestyle, she likely can't travel very far on foot. I can't be certain that she didn't take a bus. That's why Nanchan headed towards Honomi. I had no other option but to rely on her observations over there. However, maybe she was just patiently waiting somewhere. Knowing Sora's personality, that was certainly a possibility. If that was the case, we required more people to help. Otherwise, there was no way we would be able to search over this entire area on our own. If I could get the townspeople to help, we might be able to find her. Or maybe I could consider asking Kazuha-san to help us. But what would I even say? Sora went missing. That should be more than enough. However, beyond the request for help, they might want to know about what led to this. If it came down to that, our relationship would become known to the whole town. In that case, I couldn't help but wonder what would happen. That's what I was afraid of the most. Regardless, it's not like it was a path I could necessarily avoid. Above all else, what was truly important was safely finding Sora. If it's for that reason, I'll accept any outcome, no matter what it would be. There's probably no way she would have headed back home either. I wasn't expecting anything, but I tried going back home again anyway. It's my own home, yet it was so quiet it almost felt like a haunted house. If I don't find Sora, this house will forever be stuck like this. I have to find her, no matter what. It was when I was about to head out the gate again. Unable to avoid the figure emerging suddenly out from behind the gate's blind spot, I crashed into them. Following the light impact, a staggering heaviness weighed on my body. I'm sorry! Are you okay? Once I quickly steadied the unsteady figure with my arms. Nincho! What was lit up by the street light? It was Yincho's face. Our eyes locked on each other's for several seconds. As she tried to shove arms aside, she quickly leaned backwards and distanced herself. Reeling from the impact, my feet instinctively braced. They scraped the ground, echoing unexpectedly. Perhaps surprised by that sound, or regaining her composure, she began to extend her hand with an apologetic expression, then quickly withdrew it. I'm fine. The behavior and facial expression of Incho, in that moment, it was like looking at an entirely different person. Having such a response was to be expected. I didn't think she would readily accept a straightforward explanation. However, when I looked at her directly, my heart still felt cold. At this moment, much more important than Incho, it's Sora who's... That's right. I felt uneasy about bringing this up with Incho. Besides, I'm not even sure if she'll respond or not, but right now, I need information. Incho, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but on my part, it might come across like a trivial question, huh? By any chance, have you seen Sora around here?
まだ見つかってないみたいです。
Huh? Hasn't been found? Why did Incho... Before I even asked the question, Incho bowed her head.
ごめんなさい。
In that very position, Incho seemed unable to budge. Incho! What's wrong? I had the impression that her body was faintly trembling.
話はその頼姫先輩から
Now Chen even talked to Incho.
私のせいですよね。ソラさんがいなくなったのは。
Her earnest words were intertwined together with sobbing.
私が騒いじゃったせいでソラさんがあの時本当私が頼姫先輩みたいに落ち着いていられれば。
Incho. I couldn't help but wonder why Incho was crying.
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
I also couldn't help but wonder why Incho was apologizing to me. The one that should apologize was me, after all. No, that's not it at all. I softly grabbed one of Incho's shoulders. She raised her head. That time when I touched her, she didn't reject me. Incho? Yeah. Ryohei and now Chen. We ended up dragging everyone into our problem.
でも
That's why the one who should apologize is me. Sorry. Also, thanks. I gently pulled my hand away from Incho's shoulder. Incho, too. For Sora's sake, at this late at night, she came all the way over here.
いえ私は
It's dark, so please be careful out there. But Ryohei is helping us out too. So you don't have to push yourself so much.
いえ手伝わせてください。
Incho's voice still trembled a little, but it had become much clearer.
私が手伝いたいんです。
Incho. Her eyes, which had been averted until now, this time gazed straight into mine. Her eyes had become red, as if she had shed tears all day long. Arigato. I was so relieved without even realizing it. It was as if I was moved to tears. Despite the kind of person I am, everyone was offering their help. But I was beyond receiving help. Incho, before that, there's something I had to tell you.
何ですか。
I was thinking of telling everyone who's helping out the truth. That's why I'd like to tell you. You as well. Is that still okay?
本当のこと。
Not just you. I'll tell Ryohei and the others too. That's what I've decided.
わかりました。
After hesitating for several moments, Incho bowed. Arigato. Incho's tears were what helped me decide. What truly made me deeply think about Sora were those tears. Well then, Soreja. I'll go and search some more.
はい。
After I gave Incho my kettai bango, we each went our separate ways. I made my way towards this dagashiya I still haven't checked. Sora! Sora! Calling out, I kept vigilant for anyone nearby as I walked. Sora, where did you go? No one called my cell phone. At least, don't get yourself in trouble. I want her to be safe. If I lost Sora, I even stopped by Yahiro-san's house, but Sora was still nowhere to be found. The shop was obviously closed, and when I looked over and noticed that other rooms also weren't lit, I realized Yahiro-san might be out. Only the cry of bell crickets resounded throughout the area. I checked nearly everywhere that Sora would have gone. The only place left is Amatsume's place, I guess. Thinking about how far Sora could go, I felt that around the Jinja would be the limit of how far she would be capable of venturing. Okay, fueled by a glimmer of hope, I started running. The area ahead of the road to the Jinja was covered in darkness and gave off an ominous atmosphere. It was as if the liveliness of the time during the Matsuri was a complete lie. for a Matsumi to live on her own in a place like this. Thanks to the faint light from the Yozora, it wasn't pitch black out, but the darkness was so deep, it felt like it would consume me. I didn't even know which direction I was facing anymore. Sora? I tried calling out in the direction of the Jinja in the Kagura Hall.
あれハルくん
Ah! After I called out, I was so startled by the figure that appeared in front of me that I nearly lost my balance.
ああごめんねびっくりした
Matsume! I thought my heart was gonna jump out of my chest. The Miko's white clothes made her look like Yure.
さっき戻ってきたんだけどここにはいないみたい
I see. I troubled you with this too.
気にしないで
Thanks. Although, this place was my last hope. If she's not here, then I'm becoming more unsure where she could have gone.
あでも山の方までは見てないよ
Yama?
ほら夏のお祭りの時にみそぎをしたところだよ
The lake! Huh? But all the way up there?
行ってみるはい懐中電灯あるよ
Matsume handed me a large flashlight. Well, climbing when it's this dark out, that's asking for trouble. Setting aside the challenge of carrying anything to the lake, even reaching it during daylight can be quite difficult. Not to mention, covering that kind of distance. Could Sora, who is currently barefoot, even make it very far without losing her way? Moreover, if you're not experienced, there's a chance of being stranded somewhere. Realizing that, I was horrified by even the idea. If she ended up stranded, even with a flashlight, trying to search that huge mountain with just one or two people would be nearly impossible. My ketai started ringing from within my pocket. Maybe someone found Sora.
かもしれないね
Opening my ketai, I checked the screen. Then I almost dropped it.
どうしたの
It's Sora! My fingers that held the ketai were trembling. As if processing something, those fingers then slowly shut the ketai.
私みんなにも伝えとくね
Okay, please do.
見つけてあげてソラちゃんハルくんを待ってるから
Okay. Matsume turned away and started running. When I switched on the flashlight, its beam reached the staircase inside the Jinja and illuminated it. I proceeded to climb up the staircase. Sora. In the text message, there was only one word.
さよなら
That was what was written. With the flashlight's beam guiding me, I sprinted down the hill's road. In the overwhelming darkness, the light I held in my hand seemed like it wasn't nearly enough. Without even being able to see my own steps, the grass and trees' branches lashed at me relentlessly. Every so often, I tripped on a large rock, a hole in the hill, or a tree stump, which caused me to lose my balance. However, even then, I never slowed down. Sora! When I saw the contents of the text message earlier, I had the mental image of Sora standing completely motionless beside the lake right before my eyes. There was no reason for it at all. I was just convinced of it. No, it might have even been a hallucination. For some reason, I was certain that without a doubt, Sora was in that lake. That's why I did nothing but continuously climb this hill I couldn't even see. With a force like a coiled spring, a dull impact ran through my braced legs. As I desperately ran up the hill, my legs suddenly stopped moving. Then I tumbled down with a great force. Without any chance to prepare for it, I ended up sprawled on the ground. My fall even made a powerful sound that echoed in the distance. A sharp pain shot through my chest, as well as my chin. After it subsided, it left behind a dull ache. It When I collapsed, I dropped my flashlight. Huh? When I picked the flashlight back up, it seemed that the filament was broken. When I tried to turn it back on, no light appeared. I went to throw the now useless flashlight down on the ground, but then I stopped, remembering Amatsume lent it to me. Nande? Within the darkness, tears slid down my face, one by one. The pain from my fall and the scrapes hurt like hell. But I knew it was just because it was the last straw. I ended up wallowing in my own self-pity. Am I unable to live any other way? I tried to just conveniently forget the incident with Naochen when we were little. Even when our parents died, and when we arrived here, all my actions were mostly driven by my own stubbornness. I loved Sora, and then I pushed her away. Whenever I try to do anything, there's always something else that trips me up. Now that I have clumsily fell down yet again, I finally realized my own inexperience. Can I not even bring myself to change? Will it always be this way? No. It won't. This time, I had no choice but to do something myself. Sora. Sora's silhouette appeared by the Jinja. The Sora who said sayonara had vanished and died. I can't let that situation ever reach reality. I put as much strength as I could manage into my legs and hands. It felt almost like something in my bones were about to snap, but I couldn't afford to dwell on that. While gripping at the tree branch, I stood up on some scattered stones. Even if I fell or had to crawl on the ground again, even if it's pitch black out, I had to keep going. I had to make it to Sora. Sora! My only remaining Kazaku. My kawaii no imoto. The feelings within me, without a doubt, towards Sora, are feelings towards someone I love. I don't want to lose either of those things. No matter what happens, I can't let it end like this. That's why I continued running. Eventually, the trees parted, the thicket of grass disappeared, and I dashed out under the moonlight. The feeble light from the barely visible Yozora I was relying on entirely surged through the darkness and dazzled my eyes. My knees were shaking violently. Even if I placed both hands on them, it was bad enough to make my arms tremble as well. A lake lay before my eyes, reflecting the moonlight. It's a spot where the lake's Jinja is, that no one usually visits except during the Omatsuri. Within the silence, as if it's refusing humanity. The water surface, mirroring the Yozora like a mirror, gently rippled out. Yozora no Kagami. Anyway, small waves radiated outward in circular arcs, wave after wave. Before long, the ripples form a crooked circle, then vanish into the water's surface. There, walking against those ripples was, in the center of it all, a beautiful white dress unfurled like a flower blooming. Sora. Sora, who was gazing into the very heart of the lake, turned her head. With the moonlight at her back, the deep color of Sora's eyes turned towards me, and I could see my own reflection. Upon seeing her eyes, my words died in my throat. What I had in mind when I arrived here, what I needed to tell Sora. In one instant, all those thoughts vanished from my mind. Sora! Even when I called out to her, Even when I headed towards the shore, Sora didn't so much as move a muscle, being immersed in the water up to my knees. It was almost as if I was standing. It was a standing sculpture within the lake. Sora! Without caring if my shoes got wet, it was when I took a step forward. Sora had uttered a rejection that she hadn't until now. The eyes that were peaceful up until now were now piercing. However, they held the appearance that she denied everything. It was as if Sora's eyes were attempting to pierce right through me. Sora? Let's go home.
Yeah.
Sora clenched her fist tightly, closed her eyes tight, and shook her head.
春はもう私と一緒にいるのが嫌なんでしょ。
I never said anything like that.
なら今まで通りでいいの。
Sora, we can't do that anymore.
どうしてなの。
Sora's voice echoed across the quiet lake.
私が春を好きなことも春が私を好きなこともそんな変なことなの。そんな気持ちすら持っちゃいけないの。兄弟だから家族だから誰か知らない人が決めたことだから、そんなのどうだっていい。私は春に聞いてるんだから。私は春にだけ好きでいてもらえたらそれだけでいい。春だけがいてくれれば。
That's no good. Let's go back, Sora. Then we could both talk about what we'll do from now on.
これから
Sora's voice carried a hint of distrust.
嘘。
That wasn't a lie.
だって言ったじゃない、終わりにしようって。
As she spoke, ripples formed around Sora and began to spread across the lake's surface.
私との関係を続けられない、終わりにしようって、そういうことじゃないの。そうなったら私はどうなるの。春が隣にいてももう手を伸ばすこともできない。好きだって言ってももう抱きしめてもらえない。また私はずっと。
Oh shit. I fucking hate. I'm sorry, guys. I was in the middle of
私との
doing some
関係を
screenshots.
続けられない、終わりにしようってそういうことじゃないの。
I hate how the button for screenshot is the same for like skip. I'm sorry, guys.
そうなったら私はどうなるの。春が隣にいてももう手を伸ばすこともできない。好きだって言ってももう抱きしめてもらえない。また私はずっと春を見守るだけ。そんな生活に戻って私はどうすればいいの。お人形みたいにずっとそばにいればいいの。春はそんなことを望んでいるの。好きって言ってくれるのは言葉だけで。もう心から抱きしめてくれないの。
That's not it, Sora.
そういうことでしょ。だったら私はいてもいなくても変わらない。もういらない存在なんだ。
Why do you say that? Even though I need you so much. So that's why you came all the way to a place like this. I don't need you. Of course that's not true.
だったら春聞かせて。春は私をどうしたいの。そんなわけないって言うなら私をどうするの。
I couldn't give an immediate answer to Sora's question. What do I want to do with Sora? To me, Sora is a very important person in my life. She's my only remaining family, not to mention my adorable sister. She's also my beloved other half. I can't waver anymore about that. I won't waver. If I'm asked what to do with Sora, I want to embrace her and make love to her. From the bottom of my heart, I want to give all my love to her. But that's in a world that consists only of Sora and me. Sora and I can't live in this world relying on only ourselves. In order to live, we had to interact with other people and accept their thoughts too. Among them will be people who find it uncomfortable, those who won't be able to believe it's real, and even those who will make it the target of their curiosity. It's very likely none of them will be able to understand our feelings. Incho, Naochan. They accepted it despite their own bewilderment. But Ryohei, Amatsume, what about Kazuha-san? Things might get awkward. We might end up becoming distant towards each other. Can we keep repeating such an experience with everyone we'll ever meet? I can't help but wonder why our feelings for each other are causing so much pain. Even though we both feel the same about each other. Sora's nothing but honest. She's always direct with her feelings. Then, is it okay to be more like Sora? Where we're only looking at each other. If I do that, can we become happy?
春は
Sora's voice brought my scattered thoughts back into focus.
私以外にも大事なものがあるよね。
Huh?
だから私だけってわけにはいかないんでしょ。周りにも合わせて私の面倒も見て。春はいつもそうしてきた。これからもそうしていくつもりなんでしょ。だから私だけを取ることができない。春はいつもそうだったから。
That's right. If we could simply just live by ourselves, without relying on anyone else, there probably wouldn't have been this much to worry about. But to live amongst people, it's because our parents died, and we had no relatives left to turn to. I realized that. Yet, in order to not let these people take Sora, I ran away with her to this place together. I failed to do the most important thing of all, protect Sora. It's exactly as Sora said. In the end, I selfishly dragged Sora around at my own convenience. I said I loved her and embraced her, but when people saw us, I let her hand go. It was as if I was treating her like a puppet. I, the one who intended on protecting Sora. I, who, while loving Sora, never had the courage of being able to go anywhere as long as I was with her. Caught in this self-contradictory dilemma, I had no choice but to struggle. I myself was an entirely incomplete existence.
でも春はそうやってでも全部を守ろうとしてくれたんだよね。パパとママのお葬式もお店のこともその後の法事も全部一人で背負って。パパとママが事故に遭ったのも自分のせいだって思って。便利な都会を捨てて親戚の人の助けまで断って苦しかったのに泣かなかった。いつも全然悲しい顔を見せないで笑ってた。でも笑顔の下で苦しんでる春の気持ちがすごく分かって私の方が苦しかった。今の春もそんな顔してる。
あ、
そんな春の顔は見たくないの。だから春の言う通り終わりにしよう。 春は自由だよ。
So, that one word, for some reason, it made me shudder. Sora doing her best to consider my situation and feelings. Now she's trying to understand my own view of her situation. By doing so, by killing her own feelings. Isn't it that she's attempting to be the same as me? But right now, what I'm thinking, what Sora's thinking, isn't the same at all. We should be embracing our shared feelings, but Sora is... Sora! Sora had slowly begun walking. The surface of the water rippled, creating numerous waves that appeared then quickly vanished.
いいの。これで。
待て! Chasing after Sora, I entered the lake. I then attempted to move forward. I was immersed in the water up to my knees. As I pressed on, the water gradually grew deeper, until it was up to my waist. It was becoming increasingly difficult to walk as well. The moon within the Yosora only projected its radiance on the surface of the lake. The rippling lake surface left patches of darkness in its wake. Navigating the lake bottom had become nearly impossible. My feet kept getting tangled with rotting wood and aquatic plants. The ominous lake within the darkness easily triggered my deep-seated fear of water. Sora! The gap between Sora was steadily heading towards the center, and me gradually increased. Maybe the reason Sora chose to come here was it because I couldn't chase after her? No matter how impatiently it reached out with my hand, my feet wouldn't move at all. Sora, you! Before I realized it, around half of Sora's body was submerged beneath the lake's surface. At this rate, Sora, what she had chosen as to what she called the end was. Sora's goodbye was, in order to free me, she'll disappear. Sora!
アキラが言ったの。ここは始まりの場所だって。この湖は始まりの場所って言われてて、ここから人が生まれたって言われてるの。それで死ぬ前にここに戻ると、もう一度生まれ変わって後悔していた人生をやり直せるんだって。生まれ変わったら今度こそうまくできたりするのかな。ここで死んだらもう一回同じ人生をやり直せるんだって。後悔したことをやり直せるんだって。そうだったら春、今度は。
Sora! Sora had made it explicitly clear. Up until now, there was one word she had been implying, but didn't say it aloud. Death. The lake's water began to submerge my body above my waist. Sora, are you absolutely sure you want to do something like that?
好きになればなるほど春を傷つけていくの。そんなの耐えられないよ。
No. That's not true. If you die, and I'm the only one who'd be left, what point is there in that? A future without you. I couldn't deal with that either. My welled-up emotions spurred my arms and legs into action. As I desperately pushed my way through the water, I ran towards Sora. However, even though Sora was standing right in front of me, she seemed too distant to reach. Sora was submerged up to about her chest. My fear of losing Sora, combined with my memories of nearly drowning, caused the feelings of despair to overwhelm me. Sora! As if to shake off those painful emotions, I recklessly pushed forward. At that moment, my hand had reached Sora's arm. Using my fingers that had been desperately padding through the water, I tightly grasped Sora's arm, which gave off a strong presence.
いや離して
Sora! No! We're going back home!
いや
Sora shook me off with a surprisingly incredible force. Sora! Ah! The water splashed and rippled around us. Ah! Losing my footing, my feet became entangled in the middle of the turbulent water. After shaking me off, Sora made her way towards the center of the lake, as if trying to run away from me. Sora! Wait! During my struggle to regain my balance, I eventually readied myself and swam towards Sora. I crashed in the water, disoriented enough to not know which way was which, all the while gasping for air. Sora!
いやダメだ
Reaching Sora for a second time, this time I desperately grasped at her clothes. Sora! Let's go back! When I tried to drag Sora back towards the shore, Sora resisted heavily. But if we're separated, it'll be all over. Sora will be gone. I can't let that happen. Losing Sora as well. Sora! My feet no longer reached the bottom of the lake. I struggled desperately under the water's surface. When I lifted my face, the relentless waves of the water surface attacked me. As muddy water flowed down my throat, I began to choke. The taste and smell were the same as when I almost drowned. Underneath the water, the sound of my heart as well as my blood flowing resonated loudly deep within my ears.
もう離して
The sensation of her clothes underneath my fingers suddenly vanished. Apart from Sora's clothes, I was engulfed by disorientation. This time, water gushed down my throat. In that instant, my whole body convulsed, both my arms and legs. It became unclear whether I could move them or not. It was like I was flailing helplessly. It seemed like I wasn't making any progress inside the water. Sora! Even if I extended my hands toward the figure I could faintly see, I couldn't reach anything. My breath quietly escaped from inside my lungs. Whereas the surface of the water, the direction that the bubbles escaping from my mouth now are floating to. Whereas Sora. My consciousness started to fade away. It's Sora's voice.
しっかりして
Even though my eyes are open, I couldn't see anything. I couldn't even tell up from down. Sora's voice is somewhere, far, far away. I can't gather any strength anymore. The pain in my chest has become strangely faint. What is it? My breath. I'm not breathing. I feel so sleepy. This is so. Yesterday, I didn't sleep. For some reason like this, But Sora is. I have to take her with me. Together. But for some reason, I'm already. Something's pulling me. Sora. Isn't Sora tired too? Just like this, let's rest together. It's okay to rest now. Like this, the two of us. As long as we're together. The thing that was pulling on me was now beside me, dragging me along.
しっかりして
Sora. 一緒に. From the start, we should have just done this instead. If it's done this way, Sora wouldn't be alone either. It's warm. I could feel Sora's warmth. That alone was enough to satisfy me. That's right. Just like this. If I just die, then I can be at ease. I tightly embrace that warmth. Yet despite holding someone so close, why does my pain only grow? I could sense a voice that's not my own. With that, my consciousness promptly fell into the darkness. What was that? A crying voice? From the deep sobbing, it was as if their sorrow resounded deep inside my ears. No, even deep within my mind. It was a voice filled with violent coughs. I wondered if they were crying so much that it made them choke. Also, along with that choking voice, I had a feeling that something was trembling. My chest hurt. It wasn't the sad voice I heard, it was something more direct. It felt like something was continuously weighing down on my chest. I had a strong feeling that someone was calling my name. Calling my. Once again, my chest ached. It's not exactly painful, it's more like it was aching. Something that was deep inside me began to overflow. Please, make it stop. It hurts. It hurts. It was a horrible feeling, like being flooded with a searing mass. It hurts so much, but if I don't spit it out, I'd be even more pain. It'll be even more painful. My body was rejecting this strange sensation. I suddenly heard a crying girl's voice. That voice was Sora? Sora? Sora! From her name being repeated inside my head, my consciousness finally had begun to clear up. Then, at the same time, I coughed up whatever that hot thing was from my throat. Sora! The outline I saw gradually began to give shape to the image in front of me. Sora! Whenever I attempted to do anything with my mouth, I choked violently instead. Intermittently, I spelled something from my throat. No, it was from deep within my chest. Sora's hand reached out, then gently stroked my chest. A muddy smell reached my nose. Is this the water from the lake? I slowly pieced together my faint memories. I see. I was in the lake. The second I remembered, drops of water fell upon me. A warm teardrop fell from Sora's cheek. Come in. While having a regular conversation, drop after drop fell onto my cheek. For this feeling alone, I slowly regained my senses. I had passed out. Before my very eyes, there is Sora's face as well as the distant Yosuga. Ah. I see now. I'm starting to recall. I came out here to bring Sora back home. I found Sora standing by the lake. Then, just like that, Sora. I waded into the lake to stop her, then struggled against the current. There, I nearly drowned, together with Sora. As my last lingering memory resurfaced, fear and terror overwhelmed me. That moment when I tried to chase after Sora. Sora! When I instinctively intended to get out, Sora stopped me.
動かないで。
Huh?
そのままじっとしてて。
Sora stared directly into my eyes. Her eyes glistened with tears, but her emotions were unmistakably visible within them.
もっと静かにしてないと。春、溺れてたのに。
But I just feel like being calm. Sora, and the water, together. Just from thinking about it, my heart felt like it would become frozen. Just what was I trying to do? I was trying to kill Sora. Sora. My hand, as well as my entire body, was shaking all over, both in horror and despair. I just wanted to be at peace, but then I ended up dragging Sora with me. Even though I wanted to escape from all my suffering and pain, I wanted to have a reason to back up my decision. I wanted someone by my side to distract me from my own dread. Self-hatred. Isn't it even enough to describe the level of my agony? I felt like I was tearing my own heart out, if that's even possible. Why am I alive? My horrid true self was exposed, yet I'm here, living, without a care in the world. I abandoned both my own feelings as well as Sora's feelings. Then my final decision was to simply run away. Sora, I couldn't bring myself to look directly at Sora's face, which was directly in front of me. Despite it all, Sora looked at someone like me straight on. However, as I averted my gaze, Sora's hand propped my face up and compelled me to look at her again.
春のせいじゃない。私が春を追い詰めたから。
は？
春は私の希望にいつも応えてくれて、私の思いも受け止めてくれた。わがままばっかり言っても春はずっと聞いてくれた。だから私が春をずっと苦しめてた。そんな私なのに春は最後までごめんなさい、春。
Sora. Why is Sora apologizing to me? Even though, in reality, no matter how many times I could ever apologize to her, it would never be enough. No. Even if I did end up apologizing to her, it's something that could never be forgiven. The moment I almost drowned, the thought that popped into my head was, I want to be put at ease. I want to be set free. There were extremely cowardly thoughts known as wanting to run away from everything, even reality itself. That's wrong. I also tried to... I tried to kill her. Despite wanting to continue speaking those words, Sora interrupted me.
私が春を殺そうとしてた。
Huh? Sora did that to me? Once again, her tears had begun to fall like raindrops.
春は私をこんなところまで来てた私を見つけて、泳げないのに湖から必死に私を連れ戻そうとして、そのせいで春は死んじゃうところだった。 パパとママだけじゃなくて春まで殺そうとした。
Sora, even though her actions weren't the same as mine, she still thought similarly to how I thought. That she, herself, ended up trying to take another's life. But, Sora, that's wrong. Sora, you saved me. You saved someone like me. Doing something so reckless. You should have just left someone like me alone. That way, at least the main cause of all these problems would disappear. Raising her voice, Sora hit her fist against my chest. Accompanied by her reprimanding tone, my chest received a gentle hit. Twice, and then 3 times. What I did was despicable. Despite my love for you, I pushed you away while claiming to understand your feelings. And then I tried to kill you. Abandoned everything for my own selfish desires. Then I dragged you into it to boot. I tried to end it all in the most cowardly way possible. How could someone as cowardly as me, who you even save, possibly supposed to face you now? I don't think I ever even knew what it was like to be too ashamed to face someone until now. I no longer have the right to even live, even though I survive. That doesn't change the fact that I can't face you directly anymore. I shouldn't do it. I can't do it. That's all I ever did. That's why. I should have just died. I accepted the fact that I no longer cared about anything and everything. There's no way that's wrong. I betrayed everything that was precious to me. Sora, contradicting the tears that was streaming down her face, Sora's voice was full of determination. Huh? Sasuke.
春が溺れて私を掴んだ時、私の耳元で消え入るような声だったけど、確かに言ったもの。
Oh, hey. I said that? I shouldn't have said, save me. Since I wanted to be at peace, I contemplated taking Sora out with me. How's someone beyond saving, yet to try to be saved anyway? For me to utter save me, at the very end despite everything, I still tried to desperately rely on Sora regardless.
あれが春の本当の気持ちだったんだね。春がどんなに苦しみを抱えてたのか流れ込んできた。春は一回も弱音を吐かなかった。私に助けてって言わなかった。何でも自分で背負って潰れそうになっても笑っていて、そんな春を私は最後まで自分の気持ちばかり言って苦しめてた。自分を追い込んで本当に春を追い詰めてたのは私だったって。
Not true.
でも春が助けてって言ってくれたから私も助かったの。
Huh?
こんな私を春がまだ必要としてくれてるって。私を必要としてくれる春のために私の命は取っておかなきゃいけないって。だから春は私を救ってくれたの。
Not so. There was some worth to me after all. Even though I only did whatever I wanted for my own convenience. In the end, wanting to be saved so conveniently, even though I'm such an idiot.
春は生きなきゃいけないの。もちろん私も。
Sora. Have to live. I reflected upon those words. Yes. That's true.
春
I had to live. For both myself and Sora, but you'll forgive me? Whatever the reason may be, even though I attempted to kill Sora, I had to at least ask that. Because I did something absolutely unforgivable.
バカ。
However, Sora's response was her usual complaint towards me. Huh?
最初から許すも何もないのに。
With those words, tears began to run down Sora's cheeks. You see, I guess that's true. It wasn't a matter of forgiving or not forgiving. I just headed down the wrong road by mistake. We should just refocus on the road ahead of us and continue down it together.
でも春
All of a sudden, Sora's expression became serious. What?
一つだけ聞いていい？
Yeah, sure. Even though it's not like I could say no, Sora's expression grew exceedingly stern. I wonder what Sora wants to ask me.
春の気持ちは今どうなの？
She spoke in a feeble voice.
お願い聞かせて。
Sora stared at me anxiously. I know why. She suddenly became so serious. Sora took it upon herself to ask once more about the root cause of everything. But that was a question that should never have been asked, and an answer that should never have been given, in order not to repeat the same mistake.
春
I was reflected within Sora's eyes. I wonder if Sora was reflected in my eyes too. Deep within my heart, there was no need for such a question. In front of my eyes was my only sister, who I cherished deeply. My feelings towards Sora, that I didn't want to bother anyone else with. That's the only thing it was. Not to mention, they hadn't changed at all. That's why I'll tell her honestly. Tsukiyo, Sora. Sora's expression shifted to one of disbelief, as if she couldn't believe what I had just said. Now, I can ask this properly. Zutto, korekara, hito ni. Did I do that right? I don't know, man.
当たり前のこと聞かないで。
I see. That alone was enough to fill my heart with satisfaction. Sora laid down on top of me. We then softly embraced. Right before my eyes, Sora's face drew close to mine. Sora slowly closed her eyes. Man, we straight here, huh? Well, of course, there's going to be a cathartic payoff. Anyway,
春、もう離さない。
Hanging over me, Sora kissed me over and over again.
春の体、冷たい。大丈夫？
Since I was hot for running around. The coolness of the lake's water actually felt pretty nice, but I might have gotten a bit too soaked.
バカ。温めてあげる。春。
Sora. Lifting up my shirt, she unfastened the belt of my pants and pulled my zipper down. Sora. You're pretty soaked too, aren't you?
だから春、二人で温まろう。
As she sealed my lips with a kiss, she gently lifted out my cock out of my boxers. So cold. Your hand. The cold sensation made my hips pull back for a moment.
大丈夫。これから暖かくしていってあげる。
As she rubbed my cock up and down, it gradually stiffened and rose as the flow of blood increased within it.
ほら、元気になった。
Sora.
もっとだよ。もっとしてあげる。
I embraced Sora tightly once again.
痛い。
Sora. Sora.
春、好き。
In a tight embrace, we shared a hushed kiss, savoring the warmth of each other's body. We found comfort in the soothing rhythm of our heartbeats. I can't quite explain it, but it felt reminiscent of a relaxing feeling from the distant past. Maybe it's because that they were the very same heartbeats we felt ever since we lived in our mother's womb. They're really cooked with this line. Sora. Suddenly I got embarrassed to make the sound effects. Anyway, we continued kissing each other repeatedly, not just on each other's lips, but also upon our cheeks and the naves of our necks. A subtle aroma tickled my nose. Sora's scent was sweet and pristine, akin to the innocence of a newborn. The lines, man. The lines. The lines. I lovingly kissed Sora's body.
春、いっぱいキスして。
Okay, Sora, this time I'll...
来て、春。
Sora placed both of her hands on my chest and got on top of me, as if she was saddling me.
しょ。
Sora hiked up her skirt and she slowly moved her panties aside. After shifting her panties over, she sat on my lap again. Huh? Sora, you're going to be on top? As if taking into consideration that my body was exhausted from almost drowning, Sora gently stopped me as I tried to sit up.
私が上、いいでしょ？
Sure.
春の血、もう大丈夫？
Sora rubbed at my cock, which had become flaccid from ejaculating, and it began to rise up again. You rub it that strongly.
すぐ出しちゃえや。硬くなってきた。入れるね。春の。
Ah. Sora hiked up her skirt, showing me the place between her legs. With her own finger, she spread her slit open and placed my cock at the entrance of her vagina.
最後にギュッて抱きしめてくれて嬉しかった。最後の一瞬までずっと一緒なんだって言ってくれたみたいで。
That's because When I blanked out, I was afraid that you would vanish.
ハル
But we're still here, right inside my arms. So right now, I'm really happy.
ハル私も
I embrace Sora. Sora's warmth, her sweet fragrance, the gentle rhythm of her long breaths, and the comforting weight of her body engulfed me completely. I've started to accept everything from this point forward. But now, it doesn't hurt anymore. Because we gained a bond that we can share between us both. The morning fog, clinging on as if for dear life, gradually began to dissipate, growing fainter and fainter. As the dawn light shone down upon us, the world that was much dimmer moments before began to take on a reddish hue. As the fog lifted, each tree and blade of grass finally emerged into view. Then the sky became more visible. The world, which had come to a standstill during the night, had now stirred to life. It was that kind of feeling. The grass was damp from the night dew, and it had now started to wet my feet. As a result, my feet grew slippery, and with one firm but careful step at a time, I began to descend the hill.
開いた
Are you okay, Daijobu? Although I had tried my best to avoid them, Sora ended up getting stuck by the twigs sticking out.
もっとちゃんと歩いて
Sora poked her head out from behind. ごめんね. Wait, I'm just gonna let this load. I'm gonna have a lot of choices to pick tonight. I better pick a good one. I descended the hill with Sora on my back. Due to Sora not wearing any shoes, her feet were naturally full of cuts. Wearing barefoot on this harsh mountain road, eventually Sora's request led me to carrying her on my back. While it was already challenging to climb up the mountain trail, descending down it proved to be equally difficult. To make sure neither of us would fall, I paid careful attention while descending the mountain. Despite the fact we were progressing as slow as turtles, I strangely didn't feel tired, maybe because of the warmth at my back. Still, morning, One night had already passed since I parted from Amatsume. By the way, I wonder, what happened to everyone? Even though I received a text from Sora, at that point in time, I had no idea where she could even be. After that, I wondered if Amatsume informed everyone about it. That's right, the text. Sora, what happened to your ketai?
あるけど濡れちゃったから
I see. I guess that makes sense. There's no way our ketai, which were soaked in the lake, would be usable. We wouldn't be able to contact them until we descended the mountain, huh? Well, shikatanai. If they were searching all night long, a mere apology wouldn't cut it. But what's crucial above all else is returning safely. Afterwards, everyone can get angry at us if they feel the need to.
ね
What is it?
え重くない
You're heavy.
降りた方がいい
At least she didn't get angry. She felt like... Don't worry about it. Sora's hurt movements on my back were quite amusing. Although honestly, navigating such a steep slope with someone on my back would be quite challenging. This is nothing compared to what lies ahead of us, though. Even if she's heavy, and regardless of the challenges we'll face ahead, I'll continue to support Sora. Because that's what I've decided upon.
ねえハル
What else is it? Sora tightly squeezed at my shoulder with her fingers.
これからどうするの
From now on, huh? Well, first, we'll need to apologize to everyone. Make sure you apologize too, okay?
そうじゃなくて
I know.
どうするの
Sora's tone was full of concern. Setting our emotions aside, how are we going to live from now on is a different story entirely. But I already made my decision deep in my heart. I'll tell everyone about us. While I was looking for you, I had already reached that decision.
でも
If we run away from this now, I'm pretty sure things won't change at all. Even if we moved away somewhere else, the same things would probably happen again there. That's why I've decided I won't run away anymore. Not from you, not from anyone.
春
I adjusted how I was holding Sora. Sora? When you went missing, Naoshin encouraged me. Insha did too. She was really worried about you. She thought that it was because of her that you went missing.
委員長が
Yeah, even while knowing about us, she was in tears. Not to mention, Ryohei and Namatsume jumped right in to help find you, too, as if it was the most natural thing in the world. I don't think they knew everything, but we can't keep hiding this from them anymore. Wait, what's up with the zoom in just now? Sora came over and tightly embraced me.
でももし受け入れてもらえなかったら
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. If that happens, I'll whisk her away on the trip somewhere. Not to run away, but for both of us to truly live. But I'm sure, if we're honest and open with our feelings, it will work out somehow. I have no basis for those thoughts though.
そう
Really, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I believe my own words. We'll open up and share the truth with them in a way that Naochen and Incho will comprehend. In a way that the town, which we sought refuge after losing our parents, will accept us. I'm sure that everyone else too will come to understand.
街が
You're right. Once the fog lifted, the fields became visible to us, tinted with the colors of the sunrise. We've come this far, so the Jinja should be nearby.
綺麗
This place offered quite a nice view, huh? It was my first time seeing the town from this area. Even though I should have been aware of this noticeable difference, if we hadn't gone through all this, I wouldn't have ever known about it. That's why we should both go and tell them the truth, openly and honestly. Also, let's go and discover it together, our way of life. Nestle close together with Sora, just like this, forever.
どうしたな切なそうな顔して。
別に。ただ、はるちゃんの家。
寂しいもんだよな。主のいない家ってやつは。
そうね。さて、学校に遅れちゃう。
行くか。あれ院長、どうした？
いえ、ただ通りかかっただけです。
院長も気になったのか、はるかの家。
はい。正直に言いますと。
そっか。
行きましょう。のんびりしてたら遅刻しちゃいます。
相変わらず無理してんな。
倉永さんらしいかな、そういうところ。
お前もまた昔みたいに塞ぎ込むなよ。はるかがいないからって死ぬわけでもあるまいし。
余計なお世話よ。でもありがとう。あんたも寂しい？つるむ相手がいなくなって。
男の友情はいない時にこそ発揮されるんだよ。
なんかそういうの羨ましいな。
ほら行こうぜ。遅刻したら委員長にまたどやされちまう。
はるちゃん。
Looking up, I was greeted by the stunning blue sky out of Sora. I'd assume skies look the same everywhere, yet this one was distinct. Not to mention the scent of the air, the green and the lushness of the vegetation, and even the colors of the earth were completely different. The unfamiliar sky I gazed up once again made me feel like I've traveled quite a distance. Unlike anything I'd seen before. Maybe it was the local vibes, but the humidity level seemed low, and even if I sweated, it dried pretty quickly, making it easy to feel comfortable. Sora, are you ready yet?
疲れた。
You're aware we have quite a ways to go, right? If you're tired now, we won't make it before the day ends, you know?
本当に田舎なんだから。
It's probably a good match for Okokusome.
向こうの方がまだ都会だった。ここ道路舗装してない。
Hashikari. Cars hardly ever come through here. It really feels like a different world entirely.
なんでこんなところに来ようって思ったの？
That's because our parents had acquaintances around here.
パパとママの知り合い？
Yeah, that's right. We talked about this before. Didn't we? Weren't you listening?
だってまた一人で勝手に決めてたから。
I told you. Aw, you only listened to half of what I said, didn't you? Jeez.
お待たせ。ごめんね、購買がもろこみで。
遅えぞ。腹減って仕方がねえや。
とりあえず食べながらお話ししましょうか。私もいていいんですか？いいのよ。
遠慮すんなって委員長。
みんなに伝えてほしいということですから。そうですか。ほら、みんな食べよう。そうね。いただきます。
I'm sorry, I skipped the itadakimasu.
いただきます。食べながらでいいので聞いてください。ゆうべ私のところに春日野くんからメールが届きました。二人とも元気でやってるみたいですよ。
そっか。俺も携帯持とうかな。そしたらあいつといつでもメールできるんだよな。
私の携帯メール機能がないんだよね。
そりゃ家電話の子機だからな。
それで内容なんですけど、みんなで回し読みします？右輪さん悪いけど読んでもらえる？
委員長、読んでみるか？
私がですか？いえ、すみません。右輪さんお願いします。
Why did they translate that as Kazuha-san when she straight up said Migiwa-san? Anyway.
わかりました。それじゃあ、 みんな元気ですか？突然いなくなってごめん。何分急なことだったから。僕と空は今北欧のちっちゃな国にいます。父さんと母さんの知り合いがいて、そこに向かってる途中です。
Nice. Northern European country. I think it's Finland, from what I remember. We'll confirm from the next VN.
日本を離れるなんて思ってもみなかったけど、いざ海外に飛び出すと大変なことばかりで、奥小染に引っ越してきた以上に苦労の連続かも。はるちゃんらしいな。こっちは涼しくてちょっと肌寒いですが、湿度も低くて過ごしやすいです。ただすごい田舎だから携帯の電波が届いてなくて、なかなかメールを送れないのも不便だな。だからあんまり近況とか送れないけど、元気でやってるから心配しないでね。空がネットできないってさっきから怒ってるけど。
Thank God she's touching grass.
ソラちゃんも相変わらずだな。
向かってるところの人は父さんと母さんが仕事でお世話になった人で、とても親切で日本が大好きな人らしい。
What? Are they fucking weird? No, I mean, what's the term? Japanophiles?
だからお土産で日本っぽいものを買っていけばよかったかなって今更だけど後悔してる。
よーし、今から醤油とか味噌とか送ってやるか。はるかたちもそろそろ日本の味を寂しがってる頃だろうし。
生ものって大丈夫なのかな。それだったらカップ麺とか乾麺の方がいいかもよ。だったらジャパニーズジンジャーのおみくじとか浜屋とか送ってあげたらどうかな。
おみくじは喜ばれるけど、浜屋はなんか税関で止められそうだよな。
じゃあ熊手とか交通安全のお守りとか。それは向こうに行く前に渡してあげたかったですね。そうだね。
ほんと急だったしな。
By the way, I like the intro here because in the anime they made her even in the equivalent scene in the anime they made just still she's still an asshole there. At least here she really misses them.
続きはありますか？ええ、ありますよ。じゃあ読みます。みんなごめんね。いろいろ騒がせてちゃんとお詫びもできなくて。でも僕と空のことなのに、みんな親身になって助けてくれたことは一生忘れないから。ありがとうみんな。春日野くん、
あいつも水くせえやつだよな。
誰かと違ってね。また会える日までみんな元気でいてください。春日野遥。春日野くん、春日野くん。倉永さん、 PS 戻れるのはいつになるかちょっとわからないけど、お土産のリクエストは聞いておきます。
Oh, at
皆
least
さん悪いけどみんなから聞いておいてください。
wait, where's the other full text? Unsure of her return date, but open to souvenir requests. Oh, so they're still coming back to Japan anyway.
じゃあ俺は本場のソーセージだな。
じゃあ私はチーズ。それか子ヤギの首にぶら下がってるちっちゃい鈴がいいな。高いものやかさばるものを頼んだら春日野くんが大変でしょ。どうしたの倉永さん。戻ってくるんですか春日野くん。戻ってくるよ。だって今は旅行に行ってるだけだし。旅行？
あれ言ってなかったっけ？あいつ今旅行中。
I fucking hate this. I really thought I also thought that they left for good.
初耳です。皆さん知ってたんですか？あれ良平、あんた説明してなかったの？同じクラスなのに。
おや、てっきりアキラが言ってるとばかり。
あれ？カズちゃんが説明してるとばかり。急に私に振らないでよ。 だけ知らなかったんだ。皆さんもなんか寂しそうにされてたからてっきり。ごめんなさいね。でも
なんだかんだ言ってあいつ戻ってこないかもしれねえってちょっと心配してたんだよ。
でも今日のメール読んでもらって安心した。はるちゃんは戻ってくるってことに。そうでしたか。私だけじゃなかったんですね。
約1名全然疑ってないやつもいたけどな。
カズちゃんは向こうの香水とかどうかな。私なんでもいいわよ、そんな。私はそうね、絵はがきとか向こうのお菓子なんかもいいかも。お菓子いいねいいね。クッキーとかビスケットもいいな。どっちも一緒でしょ。ヨーロッパだとビスケットって言うはずよ。ほら、倉永さんは何かリクエストはないの？私ですか？
ペンダントとか高いもんねだっちまえよ。ね。
私は無事に帰ってきてくれたらそれでいいです。
I know. I like this Icho better than the one in the anime. They really made, even until the end, she was. I felt like that was like a mandatory thing they had to do. I'll just use this. I'll just use this as today's thumbnail, and it will become apparent when you see the post I'm about to post. I'm gonna post something after I finish today's recording. Looks like it's not coming, huh? The Kuruma, I mean.
春はほんと計画性がない。
Well, the memo said this was the address.
こんな畑だらけのところに住んでる人なんかいるの？
And there is. Didn't the letter come from here? I pulled the letter out from my pocket to double check it. Right now, we're in a small country in Northern Europe. We were invited here by the people our parents worked with once they heard about us. The letter even came with a plane ticket, and on top of that, the flight date was set to only a few days after we got it. That's why we packed our bags and quickly flew over here without getting the chance to explain our situation to everyone. Although it was inevitable we had to skip school. The sudden trip abroad was extremely challenging. In big cities, I somehow managed by relying on gestures and simple phrases from a travel guidebook. However, in a rural area like this, it felt like they were just humoring me, and I had no idea if my intentions were actually being understood. Now, here we are, waiting for a taxi in the middle of a vegetable field. Oh, I wonder if there are people in that small hut over there. I'm going to go look real quick. Sora, can you stay here and keep an eye on our bags? I was hoping you'd stop a car if one passed by. Yeah, will you go check out that small hut? Please? Can you just cooperate a little?
春はせっかち。
Huh?
せっかくの旅行なんだし楽しめばいいのに。
Make the most of it, but won't they be worried if we don't show up?
大丈夫。さっきのタクシーの人も大雑把だったし、ここら辺の人も似たようなものだと思う。だからちょっとぐらい寄り道しても平気。ここの時間は日本と違うし。
Sora?
春、一緒にいて。せっかく二人っきりなんだし。春は私と一緒にいるのが嫌？
No, that's not true at all.
だったらここでぼーっとしててもいいでしょ。春はいつも何かするためにすぐあちこちに行ってしまう。たまには何もしないでずっとそばにいてよ。春ぐらい私の膝で休ませてあげるからね。
Okay. I sat close next to Sora's suitcase that she had set down. I placed my hand on top of Sora's and she tenderly squeezed it. Gazing up at the sky, a rich blue stretched out. The hue seemed more vibrant than the one in Nippon. It was like heaven, just like the phrase Ao Sora suggests. In a place where there was nothing but openness, we too became a part of the scenery, enveloped by the sky. No matter where we are, no matter what time it is, it's the same endless sky above us. It felt like a connection that could never be broken, just like the sky that continues on forever. I hope my feelings for Sora persist strongly and eternally. I'm sure I can make sure that wish becomes reality. Just like the sky, we'll always stay together.
Sufi. Yosuga no Sora.
And that is Yosuga no Sora. Final thoughts? Not yet. I think I'm gonna do that in Haruka no Sora. But the quick thing I could say is that going through the 4 routes that I saw in the anime in the VN is such a different experience. In fact, it made me appreciate a lot more of other characters, especially Akira. Akira has a way better route here. And of course Sora's. It's more. I understand why they had to do a lot of certain changes in the differences in routes in the anime and the VN. I mean, we're talking about beat by beat. It's mostly the same, but like, I mean, for example, Sora's the final episode in the anime for Sora route. Although like most of the important scenes are the same, you know, there are still some variation, you know, like for example, how they got caught, you know, in the anime they straight up were caught while doing it. Here it was like, you know, Haru was just talking to Incho and now, and then Sora just shows up and she doesn't give a fuck and she just like, I want you guys to leave. I felt that, well, obviously the one in the anime is much more impactful, and of course it becomes memorable. Even up to now, people still share that fucking scene from whatever place there is. But here, you know, in terms of like Sora's characterization, yeah, that really felt lost, you know. And I do like how they handled like, you know, the search scene and you know, knowing more about like how they're, well, in the anime it's much more like it's really just between the relationship between Haru and Sora. But here, even, you know, it's different in that you could see that how they're friends even need to help them out regardless of like whether they had full context or not. It was enough for them to know that Sora's missing, they'll help out Haruka and all that sort of thing, or, you know. Also, how they deal with Incho is so different. It's so different, man. This straight up made her into an asshole. But I get why, man. Obviously, they want to emphasize that, you know, they got into a taboo relationship and they don't want to have people, you know, families slowly get destroyed by watching Yosuga Sora. I heard that because of Yosuga Sora, this was actually the exact work that started to cause like a local law in Tokyo to stop depiction of any form of incest. Well, I did say it was only in Tokyo because if your animation studios in Kyoto, maybe you could do that. And I don't know. They'll probably air it somehow. I don't know, but like I heard shit. You know, this fucking IP started something, man. At least the anime did. But the VN, you know, even up to now, we still have those routes. But you know what? I really like how they handled this, man. I really like handle. Of course, we've seen so many VNs with like, you know, family members getting together or some shit like that, and most of them were taken for laughs, or like the argument is just. It's like they watched Yosuga Sora's. It's like they read the VN and then like took some elements out of it and then slapped it together and said, "All right, we have our Imoto route here." Anyway, overall, I would say, oh man, I'm already giving final thoughts on Yosuga Sora. I didn't even read Motoko's route. I'm giving the impression I might have to read it, but it's in the same air as where I might read it in the same chance as I would read Kurumi's route in Tenchi Souza reboot. Maybe one of these days, basically. But overall, it was a good experience. I'd say out of a 10, it would be like a fucking 7, I guess. 7.5, 7.8. You know, maybe an 8. Maybe an 8. You know, like an 8.5 or 8.7 is like. Samapok is like a 8.7. The highest rated VNs for me never go above 9.7 or something like that. What the hell is my highest ranked VN in my brain? I don't know. But yeah, this is kind of this VN is it's well thought of. Like it's well thought of, but it's also simple. It's just right. It's just right, man. It's just right. It's not super grand. Like there's also like a power gap between the routes. Like, you know, Sora's route is, you could obviously tell there was a power gap between Kazuha's route versus Sora's route. In fact, there was already a power gap between Akira's route and Kazuha's route. Nao-chan's route, I do feel a little bit more sorry for her, but like at the beginning of Sora's route, it felt like they really figured out how to speedrun Nao's route. That I felt like, yeah, Nao's route. You know, when you're going to Nao's route without knowledge of whatever that's going in Sora's route, that they could speedrun her whole issue. It felt like, yeah, it's very difficult. I understand what she went through. It's not that easy. I totally understand why she feels bad about the whole thing. But only to prove that in Sora's route you could speedrun that whole thing. Yeah, Kazuha's route is also, it also feels like a preparatory route for Akira's route. Speaking of Akira's route, man, that is a huge difference for my that's a huge difference in experience from what I had for the anime. I totally understand now why the cover art for Yosuga no Sora is Sora and Akira. Like I feel like if you're looking for like this is like Himanatsu all over again, you know. Himanatsu where you have Yomi and Hina, you know, you could tell that they were aiming for like 2 routes out of the 5. Well, the original is 4, but like in the PSP version there's a 5th route. Forgot her name. I don't even remember her name anymore. Anyway, there's a 5th route, and you could tell that they were really just gunning for Yomi and Hina. So in Yosuga and Sora, you could tell they were really gunning for Akira and Sora. And I really do feel like Akira's route is a plausible alternative route where Haru does end up having a much more healthy place where he ends up. In fact, most of the route felt less like an Akira route. Like it was a little bit more further in the end. They remembered, oh yeah, this is Akira's route. They started doing a little bit more with Akira. But most of maybe 2/3 of the route was just regarding Haru, man. So that was an interesting inversion. So, I mean, your usual route would be like, your MC helps out the girl, or the usual stuff. But Akira is already well adjusted. She's already well adjusted to a huge degree. I mean, sure, she still needed a little bit more character development thanks to being with Haruka, but like even without Haruka doing anything, or even if they got together but never resolved the main conflict of Akira's route, I felt like she'd still be in a good place, though of course, breaking free from I felt like the final plot about the whole. No, it's not the in Akira's route. It's not knowing whether or not like who her actual parents, who her actual mom is. What matters? What matters, I guess, is her developing the mindset that she's free. But it just happened. The vehicle for that is like fighting the whole subplot about like whose mom, who's her real mom or something like that. It felt like a strangely convoluted, it goes nowhere kind of thing. I mean, I totally understand why you would feel that, but yeah, then the main point is her being, getting out getting out of the headspace that she picked up from Is It Totally Fine for Me? The time when the chief priest, her grandfather, adoptee, what was the term for that? Her adopted grandfather, when his son and daughter-in-law showed up, and Akira just started going, is it totally fine for me to disappear? And then, she really took into heart what her grandfather said, and then, that really chained her down. And that's why ever since then, she was always wishing to just vanish, But, even if that doesn't get resolved, she's still in a good place if you think about it. Like, she's still well adjusted, but like, Yeah, I really do think Akira and this is really more like a Akira and Sora. Yeah, they're the main heroines of this VN. Okay, terms and ranking. I can't rank Motoka because I didn't read her route, but based on what I know from the anime, she was going to go last anyway, regardless. And based on the reviews I read in VNDB, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go through Motoka's route. I'm just gonna waste my time. I might be wrong, but who knows? I might read it. Who knows? Next is Nao-chan. I did like her route, but in terms of ranking, I had to put her a little lower. Then Kazuha. Technically, objectively, I would put Nao-chan ahead of Kazuha, but like, I guess that's just my bias with like both her being an Ojo, Yamato Nadeshiko, her VA. There's a lot of things that are kind of going into the bias territory for me when it comes to Kazuha, but like objectively, her whole route was like especially compared to Akira's route, It's just her learning how to, you know, it's just her learning to just chillax, about Akira and just actually even her like that's also something that happened in Akira's route. She also has a similar character development there. So Akira Kazuha's route is like the now route for Sora's route. For Akira, you know what I mean, the symmetry there. I would put Akira as second. I would put Akira second, solid second. Then Sora. The distance between Sora and Akira isn't that huge. Isn't that huge for me? I am really surprised and really glad I read the VN. That really, because if I were to base it from the anime, holy shit, Akira would be like second to the last or even the last, depending on my mood regarding Motaka. That's how bad, that's how scuffed she was in the anime, man. That she's so scuffed. And here in the VN, it's so different, man. Anyway, and the distance between like Sora, Akira versus like anyone else, there's a power gap. There is a power gap. Holy shit. So yeah, what did I rate this? 6 out of 10. I mean, 8 out of like 8, at least 8. I don't know, maybe at least 8. Let's give it an 8. I don't know, or maybe 8 point. I don't know. It's simple. It does what it needs to do. It doesn't get overcomplicated. Although it doesn't really get really deep into the. I feel like this is a very well thought of story, but like, it doesn't hit the emotional high notes. For me, I don't know. It doesn't compared to like, me reading like Summer Pockets or something like Aodashin. The few VNs that actually made me cry. Holy shit! I was expecting to like fully like be emotionally affected by this, but like nah. It's more like I could view it like, yeah, man, I understand. Yeah, damn, that sucks. You know what I mean? But everything makes sense for me. At least that's how I think about it, the whole thing. And it is very soulful, man. For sure after this, it's still kinda early, like 10:30 PM. I'm still gonna cut out. How many scenes am I cutting out today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm cutting out 6. I also have the 6th one is they decide of all the ending. Usually in the ending CGs, they don't show like anything like any age scene, But then for some reason, they showed the CG Sora sucking Haruka's dick, and I was like, oh fuck, I had to cut that. I was planning to use the ending song as like, I'll probably remake the ending song. Anyway, that's it for Yosuga no Sora. We're not yet done when it comes to this whole IP yet. We're gonna go read Haruka no Sora. I'm going to once I start uploading today's footage, upload or whatever. I'm gonna download Haruka no Sora and apply the patch. And we're gonna go through the extension of Sora's route and then Yahiro's route. And then we're done with the whole IP. We're gonna go fully focus into Sakura Moyu afterwards. I really want to continue reading that. I just had this momentum from Yosuga no Sora because we're so close to Sora. We just finished Sora's route, and then of course anything in Haruka no Sora is something it's so unknown to me. So, and of course I'm curious about what happens after the whole story, Yeah. That's one thing I feel such a shame about Yosuga no Sora. It's like it doesn't hit the emotional high notes for me. Yeah, maybe it's just me. But like, yeah, I understand. Man, that sucks. Man, I understand their problem, but it doesn't. It gets me immersed, but it doesn't get me emotional, man. But I guess, well, the story's kind of a bit chill, you know. So maybe it's not so bad. Sakura Moyu, I am fucking expecting. They already have a lot of baits for Nakage shit, man. There were a lot of times already I was this close, but like, good thing I was so sleep deprived I couldn't feel that time, but I started to feel something there. But we're still super early in Sakura Moyu. We're still in the first route that I wanted to read. We needed to read. So yeah. So after Yosuga no Sora and Haruka no Sora, we read Sakura Moyu. We finished Sakura Moyu. The rest of December, I'm kind of forced to read an all ages VN. That's all I can say. We're reading Ever 17. We're gonna finish that. Then, if there's a VN I'm waiting to have to be translated. It's a purple soft VN, but it's coming out in February, so we're still gonna wait for that. But if we finish Ever 17 before that, we're gonna read EF something, A Tale of Memories or some shit like that. I already, because I recently just rewatched the anime, the first season. I never watched the second season. That's why I also kind of want. Oh yeah, The Tale of Memories. We're gonna read that, man. That's another Kino VN. And yeah, one of the heroine there is Sora's VA. So actually, yeah. Yeah, I think I mentioned this earlier. Sora's VA was there, and also Haruka's VA is also there. And their characters are also a couple. So it was when I was watching it the other day, I was like, man, this is Sora's voice. Holy shit. Anyway, all right. That's it for Yosuga no Sora. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in Haruka no Sora. Ciao.